Hello everyone, and welcome to the show which has no name. We've just been calling it Brad Woto's One Shots, but really it's just welcome to Saturday night. We're going to hang out, we're going to play a little game. We're going to play a little game of Dungeons and Dragons. We have some familiar faces, we have some unfamiliar faces, and we have what can only be described as Nido's face also here. Hello players, how are you doing, players?
Alright.
Fine.
Right.
As usual, full of vivacity. This is going to be the greatest show. This will be the greatest show you've ever seen. Hello chat, I won't really be seeing you much tonight, but hello, welcome to the show. We're going to be playing another one of these one-shots. So essentially what I am going to be doing now on Saturday nights, as often as I can, is playing these one-shot adventures. They're one-shots, but they that only means that the adventure itself is a one-shot. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will be finished tonight. I can't imagine you'll finish this one tonight. The first one we did took 2 weeks. I reckon this one will be concluded next week, so this is part one, probably of two, and then we'll move on to another adventure. Some of the characters will stay the same, depending on who's playing them and whether they live. They'll return. For example, Noodle and Cookie were in last week's game, and they are returning this week. They have the same characters, but it doesn't matter about any story or campaign arcs and stuff that like continue or whatever. There's no real continuity that you need to worry about. Hang on, let me just start. I need to start a recording for YouTube. Because it's not recording, so I'm just going to do this. You ready? We're going to bullshit our way through the video. You're going to laugh when you see the video. Hello, welcome to the first episode of two. And now I can carry on. It doesn't make sense, YouTube, does it? No. This one is called The Lurker beneath Red Larch, which is an adventure that I downloaded and found. It's a module that somebody else has written and planned out for me. And then I'll do my take on it with all of these lovely people here. So we have one new face, young little Noodle Leaf. He's been and had some plastic surgery, and he's got a new face, haven't you? He's got a lovely new face there. No, we have Anna here, who is from Australia, mate. So it's literally like 5 a.m, which is crazy.
Yep.
You feeling wide awake?
Definitely. 100%.
I did not force Anna to wake up at 5 and be in this thing. She is a regular. You probably will have seen, if you're a regular to the show, you probably would have seen a lot of Anna's artwork. You draw a bunch of things for us sometimes, and you've drawn all sorts of bits and bobs, and sometimes you even show up in chat when you're awake at 5 a.m. But we have a chat regular who has joined the cast. Everyone else you'll recognise. Cookie's banning everyone left, right and centre. Mod Cookie. Noodle, who can't be trusted with a ban hammer. And Nido, who shows up when I invite him to play the game. Sometimes shows up in chat, says something horrendous and leaves. And
I never leave. I lurk.
and then alright.
I like to,
and then lurks.
light the fuse and stand a safe distance away.
So, let's get right into the news. We have Killer Keemstar. God damn it. We have this adventure. Again, it's called The Lurker Beneath Red Larch. So let's begin. Let's see what we have. Alright, so you're on this map here. Okay, good. So this is set, again, it's in Faerun, which is the main sort of Sword Coast area of Toriel, the world, and we're in a different place to where we were last time. It was Neverwinter, which is a city a little ways away from here, but not too far that it doesn't make too much sense that you, Gondash and Malkai wouldn't be here. Probably, I mean, this in terms of chronology is some point after what we did before, which is why you still have all your stuff, obviously. It's likely been a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and for some reason, you can work it out between you if you want. For some reason, you two have travelled here together. You don't even have to come up with it. I'm happy to just literally be teleporting people between the missions and stuff like
I
that.
just like the goat, to be honest.
Stuck with the goat, you were just like, this goat is really interesting to me. I'm just going to follow this goat, and it just happens to be part of Maokai's inventory. We have 2 new characters as well that are randomly going to show up. And to begin, I think let me set some different sounds up, because this is a little Peachy Pixel special, but we're actually in the actual town of Red Larch. So this is a weird little town map. You guys that are playing, I've given you a little legend underneath, because I am one.
A lot of things.
Holy shit.
It's not a big deal that they're on there. They're not necessarily like things that you have to go and look at. They're not on there for any particular reason. They're actually taken from another campaign. It's just that I was like, you probably gonna want a legend and stuff like that. I wanted it for myself, and I thought, well, I might as well just put it on the map. People watching, you just get a map. So if you need to reference something, there is this legend of where generally the places are on this town map for now. And you guys can use that. There is a couple of things on there that I don't think are even part of this story, because there's a couple of things that don't line up. Like some people are not in it that are in this, but it's not like a big deal. Generally, there's just a general legend there. I'm not putting any more effort in than that. And this is the actual town itself, Red Larch. It's a pretty small town. The nearest large town is Tribor, which is a little ways north. And if you were to sort of follow the road upwards from Tribor, it would bring you parallel to where Neverwinter was last week. So where Neverwinter was here, Tribor's kind of like down on the map here, and you would be going up this road. So just to give you an idea of where it is, but it's really not too far away from Neverwinter. It's one of the bigger towns nearby. And then just outside of that, there's this smaller town, Red Larch, generally like a farming town. There are a couple of different stores and local places that you can go to get things, like a blacksmith, a wagon maker, there's a butcher and stuff like that. But generally it's not like a huge great town like Waterdeep or Neverwinter, where there's like hundreds of adventurers and kings and earls and stuff. It's just a very, very small town. Mostly everything is locally run. You probably would be passing through, I would imagine, all of you, based on your characters and stuff like that, that you'll be passing through the town. So you'll be sort of heading into a tavern or an inn to stay for the evening. We'll say that you are all, by sheer coincidence, about to head into the Helm at High Sun Tavern, which, according to this legend here, is number 3 on this map, way up over here in the middle. Rusty metal grills cover the dirty windows of this ramshackle 2-story tavern. Inside is a large, dimly lit wooden panelled tap room where locals relax, gossip, flirt, and tell the stories of their working days. That text is really fucking small for me, so I'm really zoomed out. Yeah, so for whatever reason, you 4 will be approaching this tavern at the same time. We'll say for now, Cookie, that Maokai has stabled the goat somewhere at like a petting zoo or something, because there's no way that you'd be wandering into a tavern with the goat. Likely you would have stabled the goat under a very cheap stabling place. So you can remove 2 silver for stabling the goat.
I was just waiting for you to tell me how much it is.
Yeah, you want a goat? You pay for the damn goat.
No.
I say a goat is for life, not just for Christmas.
Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll get a very quick description of each of you. I know that it's going to feel a little bit like you're going to end up doing this like every week, but I'm going to make you all do it every week, not just for new members, little newbie scrubs showing up. Noodle.
I did pick the worst multi-class known to man.
But for chat. So we'll start with Gondash and Maokai. They're heading up together. They've travelled for we'll say about 3 weeks. You're just on the road. You're all adventurers, and the best way that we can deal with this is just that is your profession. For some reason, you're just like, we're just adventuring is a thing that earns us money. You guys actually made a shit ton of money last session, so that's why you're doing it. You know what I mean? You're rich now. You can retire. And so you're just traveling around the way you do. You go into taverns, you look for rumors, something happens, blah, blah, blah. You look for a way to make some money. So you two just decided to travel together because Gondash was particularly enamored with a goat. Give me an idea of who Gondash is, what he looks like.
I'm just like a pretty big half-orc. Look very human in features and things. I've got like pale greenish skin, so I do still look like a half-orc. I've got my two like smallish tusks coming up my lower jaw, and I'm in like pretty like standard sorcery robes with a huge shield and warhammer, so I look a bit weird. Don't really seem like I know what's happening in the world.
Yeah, sort of mildly confused, and yet somehow quite skilled in a variety of different things. You decided to go, although it does say on the overlay for everyone watching, it says sorcerer. He is actually a multi-class sorcerer barbarian, which doesn't make sense, but I honestly think that when the time comes that you need it to work, it will be the best thing ever. There will be very specific situations that might happen where it will save you. Walking along next to Gondash, who is quite sizable as a half-orc, there is somebody a little smaller, although probably assumes that she's quite sizable in her own way. Maokai, who do we see here?
Maokai, a halfling cleric also. So I have like really cool shining armor. Probably don't. Like it's probably battle worn or shitty, but I think it's very cool. I have a great axe. Have like black short hair. And the mentioned goat is Cinnamon, and he's like really white and silky hair, and it's like the best goat on the planet.
Cool. Then we have so you guys are together, kind of thing. You're together, but you are walking along together, and you, as you head into town, whichever way you came into town, you see a tavern, so you start heading towards that. Around the same time, walking up towards the tavern, there's actually another halfling heading along. I have no idea what he looks like. Tell me who we see. Nido Dude. Who is Mick?
So we got a little man, a halfling, you could say. So maybe he's a halfling. Kind of walking around. He's wearing a nice long robe, orange in colour with nice blue accents around the edges. A bit of a goatee. He actually had my hair.
Okay.
He's quite lean, but you wouldn't be able to really tell that under the robe. He just kind of waddles around. He's got quite a big backpack on him, and he's wondering how he's a top lad. He's a wizard.
Big because he's small, or big because full of lots of stuff?
Lots of stuff.
All right. So
wizard by profession, author by trade.
Okay, so possibly known. Possibly known.
Have you ever read Percy Jackson?
Is that your book that you wrote?
I wrote the book Percy Jackson.
Of course you did.
The Wizard Boy.
Right.
Wizard Boy.
Percy Jackson and the Wizard Boy is
Can't have not read it.
Was written by I don't remember your
Miorden.
goddamn name. What's his name?
Mick Miorden.
Mick Miorden. We'll roll in a minute to see if anybody's heard of the book, and we'll see if any of the actual playable characters or playing characters have actually heard of your book.
It was a bestseller on the Unicorn Run, I'm telling you that.
It was a bestseller on the Unicorn Run, but nobody else is from the Unicorn Run, and that's the problem. And then yeah, so you see this little halfling heading up, sort of near to where you are. He seems to be heading for the same door as you guys. Then there's also a fourth person, a young half-elf lady, played by Anna. Who do we see in Aelin?
Well, let me think. I drew a picture of her, and I can't open it now. She's kind of like not like super tall, like slightly taller than me. She's got short, dark red hair, auburn hair, which is kind of like she hasn't styled it or anything. It's flying a bit in the wind if she's outside. She's wearing red studded leather armor, which is quite like fairly ornamental looking because she's a bard. She likes to. She's got instrument cases. She's got a viol, which is, I mean, I've chosen the smallest kind of one, so it's like basically a violin. But,
Okay, like a small violin.
Like a viola.
no, like violin sized, because a actual viol is like a cello.
Yeah, I know nothing about music, but I know that you're a musician in real life.
Degree.
Yeah.
Yep. And an actual, or 3 actual violins. Yeah, anyway, she probably she's got a long blue cloak on, traveling cloak, I guess. Not like really fancy. She doesn't look like super fancy. She's just, she looks all right. She's young. She's kind of excited looking. She's happy, and she's probably also got a massive backpack. Not too bad, but
full of instruments. Well, one day.
Full of stuff.
Full of stuff. Nice, yeah. So, again, this person, by sheer coincidence, legit. I'm not going to turn that round on you later on. You all happen to be heading into the tavern around the same time. It is later in the day. It's probably just before dusk, so somewhere around 8 p.m. You've all arrived in town. This will be your first night in town, and you're heading towards the front doors of the Helm at High Sun Tavern. Actually, first I want to see the roll. Actually, give me history checks. So on your character sheet, Anna, just find the history skill and click it. And we'll see who... This is actually going to be a roll for 2 different things. It's going to be a roll for 2 different things, so we'll see how well you guys do with that.
that work?
History check, yeah?
Yeah. 22. Damn, you have a 5?
Yeah, I think I chose that as one of my expertises.
Nice.
I felt like it made sense for her.
Mick's only rolling for one thing here. He's definitely heard of his own book.
Mate, you can't not hear about this book. I'm telling you. Everywhere around the world.
Noodle and Karina, you need to roll as well. History checks. All
Yes.
Oh no. Oh no. Gondash can't read.
I mean, I'm scared of books at this point. I'm
Yeah.
made clear.
With a roll like that, it's almost as if Gondash can't read. And Malkai with the 11. All right, so Aelin and Mick, you are aware that Red Larch is known for its nourishing, though otherwise unnoteworthy food called crumble cake. Crumble cakes are made into moist loaves from nuts, chickpea mash, chopped roots and greens, turkey, and wild fowl scraps, all baked together. And this is the town which is most famous for that. Other than that, there's really nothing noteworthy about this place.
Why did I come here?
But that is some... Well, you're probably passing through. You're probably actually on your way to Tribor, a much bigger town, looking for adventure and looking for stuff to do. Aelin has also, probably with a 22, even read your book.
That makes sense. She probably would have.
Yeah, so you've read Percy Jackson and the Wizard Boy by Mick, and it was it was a good book. It was critically acclaimed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash. Absolute smash. New York Times bestseller.
New York Times bestseller. So it was a good book, and you will have read it if it's ever mentioned today at any point. Then it will be something that you recognise. Malachi, you've not heard of it. You've also probably not heard of Crumble Cakes, unless you've heard it somewhere along the line, but you've probably forgotten it. It's not a thing that you've put to memory. Gondash can't remember his own name at this point. He's knackered. He's tired. He just doesn't care about anything going on around him until, that is, you open the door. Everybody roll me a dex. Just click on dexterity. Anything dexterity.
The word dexterity?
Yeah. I forget what the sheets look like.
Yeah. Click on the word for everything.
Along the left.
Dex. All right, first person to the door is Gondash. So as Gondash pushes open the door, and it's a single oaken but very large door to allow for anybody of all different races and sizes to head in through. He pushes it open, and inside we see this tavern, as described before, is like fairly bustling, fairly big for such a small town, but like not kind of dirty, kind of run down. Inside, there's most of the town here. They appear to be at the end of their day. They've already been here for a couple of hours. Most have eaten their food, so they're on to the mead and ale being passed around. When almost immediately as you open the door, there's suddenly ribbons of blood dancing through the air, tracing wide crimson arcs before splintering apart into thousands upon thousands of bright droplets, splashing the ground, some of the tables, a few faces. The cheerful tavern atmosphere suddenly drops and evaporates in a single moment. It's rent apart by screams as a few people shout and cry, and there's a woman with grey hair standing near the bar, grasping at a dagger, which is just in her throat, in the front of her throat, with fingers that are slipping on this blade with blood. She sways and then just collapses to the ground. Some more screams go up. There is a man stood before her. He's holding the hilt of the dagger as she falls, and she slips off of it, lands on the ground, and he's stood left holding this dripping blade. He freezes for a moment and then spins and just sprints away, knocking aside people as he goes. A couple of screaming women, hysterical, pushed to the ground. Towards the back of the bar, towards the back of the tavern, there's a young, sort of flaxen-haired woman. She stands up at the back of the room and she just sort of shouts out, "Stop him! Stop him!" and starts to run herself to sort of give chase. As he approaches the entrance where you and your comrades are standing, Gondash, what do you four do?
I take my shield and try to stop him.
Try to
I
hit
think
him.
I jump back a bit.
You're going to jump out of the way?
I kind of
Yeah.
snarl.
Mick?
Well, if I've been able to see it, then I will.
Yeah, I'm all about kind of getting out of the way.
Yeah, getting out of the way. Malachi?
And kind of stand in the way with like my hands on my hips, like, stop.
All right.
Some shit like
Can't get past me.
So,
yeah.
dexterity saving throws from Mick and from Aelin. And I guess
What's
give
the
me
saving
a...
throw? How do I?
Same as
here.
you
Found it,
did a
I
minute
found it.
ago. There's just, on the right of where it says dexterity. Gondash, you're going to have to give me like a roll to hit, but not with your weapon. So it will just be a basic like D20 plus... are you proficient with shields? I presume you are if you have one.
Yeah, I'm proficient with pretty much everything
Yeah.
as a barbarian sorcerer.
Yeah, so yeah, give me a strength plus proficiency roll to hit, and an athletics check from Malachi as this guy comes running
Plus 5.
towards you. It's +5, so that's an 11.
Yeah.
And another 11. So running straight towards this door, and this all happens within a few seconds. There's a guy. He's got some blood over him. He's got a dagger in one hand. He's got close-cropped, dark hair, very thin face. He's running straight towards you, and Gondash kind of tries to slam him with a shield. Mick successfully and very nimbly dives out of the way. He's almost gone in, like before all of this is even finished happening. He's like, well, screw this, I'm out of his way. Dives behind the door. Aelin and Gondash are kind of bustled to one side. He stumbles, though, as he hits Gondash's shield and starts to trip forwards, where he thuds straight into the armor of a halfling. Now, the size of the halfling lends itself to this stumble, and he topples over you, Malkai. You manage to sort of mostly stand your ground, and he falls into the dirt next to you, rolling. The dagger skitters off to one side into the middle of the road. What do you guys want to do? He's sort of scrambling about on the floor.
Oh no, like sit on him so that he can't get up.
I'll also try and pin him down.
All right,
Yeah.
give me Malkai. Give me an athletics check with advantage because Gondash is helping you.
Oh shit.
Nice, yeah, you had to beat an 8, so it was lucky you had the advantage. Yeah, he sort of starts to scrabble out of the way, and then suddenly this fairly strong war cleric pins him down, and he's unable to move. Gondash then moves in, sticks a large booted foot on his back, and the woman who was shouting to stop him suddenly comes running out of the tavern, and she runs over with a small piece of rope, pulls it out, and starts to bind his hands. She looks up towards you, Malkai, and says, "Oh, thank you very much. I'm surprised to see adventurers here at the exact right time." Starts to tie a knot around his wrists as he's sort of struggling on the ground.
What a coincidence!
She looks around at just this person who was not involved in the actual subduing of the man, and then looks back to Gondash and Malkai. It sort of gives you a once-over, but she seems more interested in Malkai. Malkai's kind of wearing armor. You're wearing like chain shirt or something heavier?
Yeah. I think it's chain shirt. It's the only thing I can. Yeah, chainmail.
Presumably, you also have some sort of holy symbol here as well that is quite easily recognizable as a cleric.
Yeah.
And
Basically my accent with the logo or something.
There's a bard nearby. There's often a bard near a tavern.
I'm watching everything.
Yeah, but she doesn't take too much notice into you and Mick's characters for the moment. She sort of looks up and says, "Oh, would you mind helping me take him? I need to get him back to, the lockup." She looks up at Gondash and at Malkai.
Did you
course.
escape?
What did you say, Noodle?
You say go back to the lockup. Did he escape?
Oh, well, it's just that, and she sort of like struggles with the man for a second. She looks up and says, "Well, the lockup it's just a small garden shed behind the butcher's shop." And then she sort of looks a little bit abashed and ashamed, and standing up, she keeps one foot on his back. He's sort of struggling around, but he's not really trying too hard anymore. He looks a little bit more downtrodden, a little bit more upset, as opposed to like desperate and wild. She looks across each of you. I presume Mick and Aelin are very interested in this situation unraveling, as opposed to just heading into the bar and getting a drink. But that's
I'm like,
I'm interested.
oh, jeez, what's going on?
she says. She sort of looks across all of you, and since the four of you have stuck together, she assumes that you're together, and sort of says, "My name is Elena Ironsky," and she holds out a hand and shakes Malkai's hand, Gondash's hand, and then looks across to the other two, and sort of reaches out a hand towards Mick. Shakes your hand, and then to Aelin. "Are you 4 travelling partners, adventurers?"
Of course we are.
I do not know.
Are we?
I know this small thing.
Small
I've
thing.
never met any of these people before.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I suppose it was a good thing that you were here at least. Sort of maybe a more down-the-nose look towards Mick, since the rest of you sort of... It looked at least like Aelin wasn't trying to get out of the way, even though it was more of a...
No, she was.
Even though it was more of a screw-up on the dex roll.
Yeah.
Does Miss Ironside know who I am, or whatever her name is?
Iron Sky.
Ironside, does she know me?
Well, I doubt your face is printed in these. These aren't exactly like Penguin published books. You know, these are stories with a name associated to it. So when you introduce yourself as Mick Mjordan, no, she's barely read a fiction book in her entire life.
I will be interested though when he introduces himself.
Interested enough right now to speak to him, because you can.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably just notice it.
Mick Mjordan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you sort of like Aelin will remember this. Comes up as if you remember.
I just feel like it's not the most important thing in the situation at the moment for
Yeah,
him.
yeah, that's what I thought. I wondered if you wanted a moment to speak to me. Yeah, so Alina introduces herself as Alina Ironsky. She introduces herself as being the constable of the town. Though it's probably a little bit odd that she seems to be the only constable here, because she's very young looking. She's human. But she looks to only be in her early 20s, maybe. She's got like very shaggy blonde hair and a very lithe build, and she doesn't seem entirely 100% comfortable in her position, and she's sort of very, very grateful for your help, and she says, well, I suppose if the four of you wouldn't mind, I could really do with some help, you know, shifting this guy back.
It would
Yeah,
be
sure.
easier to crush. He killed person in tavern. We could easy to kill him than keep him alive in shed.
Well,
She sort of unsteadily looks at Gondash and then back down to the holy halfling.
well, maybe we should wait a bit and clear up the situation instead of being very rash. Let's just take him back for now, okay?
Whatever you say, but it's easy to crush head.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that later, maybe.
She's sort of looking oddly at Gondash, and she says, well, that's not really the way we do things. There must be at least some sort of small trial, although I understand it is very much so an open-shut case. She sort of tries to heft him up, but again, she's quite small, so she sort of like then looks back towards you, Gondash, and then just looks very quickly to Maokai instead.
Well, can I lift him up?
Give me an athletics check
drag
again.
him?
See how you do with this guy. He's not really struggling against you, and yeah, you very easily like heft him up and start to move him along. Alina starts to sort of speak to him very quietly and say things like, we're going to lock you up, we're going to then there'll be a trial, you know, don't try any funny business, that kind of thing. And then you head a little bit further into town to just behind the butcher's shop, which is, which one are you, Butcher? On this thing here.
Because Mandiva's my favourite one.
Where?
Look at his name. Mandiva's Poultry, number 14.
Number 14? Is that the butcher's shop?
It's a poultry place. It might as well.
Ultra.
It's called Mandiva, so...
I mean, that makes sense. That's where we'll go then. So number 14 on the map. Okay, so it's straight down this long road. And then as you come to the front of this very chicken-oriented butcher's shop, Alina sort of heads down an alleyway and then into a sort of big-looking garden shed. Inside there is sort of a padded, barred area, like a cell towards the back. It's got a padlock on the door, and she puts the man in, locks him in, and then turns around. The man himself doesn't say anything. He seems sort of to be more in a sort of state of shock, a little bit more stunned than anything else, and just sort of quietly sits in the corner on a stool, and puts his head down. The room is very small. It's not actually a garden shed. There is like just a single desk, some stools sat around as if a few people could sit in here, but little more than just a desk, and then this like padded area at the back, sort of iron barred off. She looks to each of you and says, I'm going to have to go and leave town for a little while tomorrow. I'll have to go and find the magistrate, you understand. I wonder if you'd be willing to look after this prisoner for the night.
Can do, but I might need some compensation.
She sort of immediately looks glum, and then scratches her chin a little bit. Well, I have barely enough money to live on myself, but one of the village patrons might be willing to offer a reward. I can look into it. Do you want to give me a persuasion roll, Malachi?
Oh God.
Yeah, she sort of just scratches her chin. Yeah, I'll look into it. She says, you have to understand this is a very, very small town. I haven't actually witnessed anything like this in all the years that I've lived here, and I've been here for 21 summers now, since the day I was born. She looks up and looks into each of your eyes to see how you react to such a young, sort of almost sheriff of a town. Rolling a crit 20 insight. How do you all look? How are you all feeling right now when she looks across you?
I just want to ask her if why anyone would have wanted to kill that lady. It wasn't an old lady, right?
She says, well, the lady was actually a very popular street performer here in Red Larch. She sort of sings and juggles and tells jokes and stories. I think she supplements her income with a bit of sewing, gardening. Her name was Callie Brightsong. She was a lovely middle-aged woman, 50 or so. Very, very odd that somebody would want to kill her. She sort of glances over at the man in the jail and says, "That's Grindol Farmore." He doesn't even really respond. And when she sees that he doesn't particularly respond, she looks back and says, "As far as I knew, he was just a farmer. You know, he's been here for, I think, a little over a year. Moved here from Tribor. Very private man." She looks back over him to see if he's reacting to her speaking about him. Looks back to you.
I mean, I've reacted to the fact that the person who was killed was a street performer. This worries me a little bit. But I'm not worried about the fact that she's young.
Okay.
If anything, I probably smiled encouragingly.
As she says the words Tribor, I kind of look a little bit shocked and confused, and like a little bit of my memory comes back. And
Why? What happened in Tribor?
well, I was born in Tribor.
Oh, you were born in Tribor?
Yeah, I'm from Tribor, but I haven't been there in like 15 years.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, I can quickly throw you over to this map. I don't know if Tribor's on here. Oh yeah, it is. So you'll see that this is where Red Larch is, down here, and Tribor is just north. It says 1 hex is about 10 miles, so you can work that out yourself. So it's not too far away. So if you're born in Tribor, you'll probably be fairly knowledgeable of the surrounding area. It's likely that you would have passed through Red Larch before. You haven't stayed long enough to remember what a crumble cake is, but and probably haven't really made too many like friends or so. In fact, let's see. How old are you?
Let's find out, shall we? I'm 30.
30 years old.
Yeah.
Give me a just give me a random d20.
Random D20. 2.
Yeah, you don't recognize Alina, and she doesn't recognize you from passing through at any point. I would say it's probably been a few years since you've been here last, and maybe that's the reason. You'll recognize the area, and you're not too far from home in Tribor. And you wasn't last time either. I mean, Neverwinter's pretty close to Tribor as well.
Yeah.
What else do you want to do? She's just sort of sat looking at you. Anyone got any other questions?
I would.
The chickens. Could we get some chicken
Chicken? I'm afraid I don't own the...
as compensation for, as she says, for guarding?
I do like
I suppose you could... And she sort of opens a drawer under one of the desks, jangles about. Let's see. And she hands you 16 silver pieces and says, "This is all I have for tonight. Again, I'll see if there's a patron, somebody close to Callie who knew her, who would be interested in helping you out for stopping the murderer." Glances over again at Grindel, who doesn't respond.
Can I ask if there was if there are any known cases of witchery in this town, or like demons or shit like that?
Sure. Let's see. She says, "Oh, I don't think there's much by the way of witchery, and we haven't seen demons here for as long as I've stayed here." And she sort of stops for a moment and then says, "Well, there is Lies, I suppose. Lies Buckthorn. She claims that her husband was haunted, but there's not really much to go on there."
Where can I find that?
Lies? She's usually at home. You can often find her actually at the helm where we were, but she wasn't there earlier on. She lives along the south road. She sort of just describes somewhere near where 20 is on there. Bethander's Storage. She lives next door to Bethander's Storage.
Interesting.
She looks at you and says, "You suspect some sort of magic? Witchcraft? I mean, I don't think Grindel's a warlock or a wizard or anything. He's just a farmer."
Well, he doesn't look too with himself, so maybe there's someone else working in his brain.
Okay. Yeah, she looks back at Grindel. She's just completely looks back to you. I'm not one to know much about magic, I'm afraid.
Can I do what check would I have to? An Arcana check.
To try and sort of sense any weird magics going on around him or from him?
Yeah, or if I've read in a book, if any people had that before.
Yeah, go for it.
Arcana?
Yeah. I mean, you know probably about as well as anyone else that there are spells out there that let you control people and have you do suggestion spells, command type spells, charming spells and things like that. But you also know that generally these sorts of spells, they require all these different components, verbal, somatic components, and often if somebody is casting a spell, generally you're able to work it out. Even if you're a complete layman, you can see somebody going "Hurugaba" and just doing all this stuff. And you didn't witness the outright stabbing because you weren't watching. It was just, it all happened as you opened the door, but generally it didn't seem like anything like that was happening. However, it's not obviously impossible. But yeah, I don't think you like can discern one way or the other at this point.
Yeah.
If you think he's possessed,
Well, could be. I wouldn't rule it out. Are you possessed, guy?
are you possessed?
You speaking to the guy in the jail?
Yeah.
Give me a persuasion check each.
Oh god.
He
Wait,
barely even looks at you. He's just kind of sat there like this, kind of doing a... And then like you sort of speaking to him, but he's just... He looks like he's on the edge a little bit. He's sort of veering into a black hole of shock. Yeah, he doesn't really respond to you at the moment.
I dealt with possessed man once on quest. Answer was to kill him.
Well,
Um,
let's wait. Like, we can still kill him later. Maybe we can help him before that.
Alina sort of looks across to you each and says, if you wouldn't mind, unless it really, really calls for it, could you not kill him until the magistrate arrives? I'm very new to this job and it's really his decision.
yes,
Yeah.
I was just trying to think logically.
At this point, can I get a book out and start
Taking notes.
finally writing?
Yeah.
Jotting my ideas down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm thinking this can
Yeah,
be great
over
for
his
the next
shoulder.
Justin book, I'm telling you.
Yeah, okay. And
Holy gold.
Aylin's going to start watching. So,
I reckon I can probably do that fairly sneakily because I'm much taller than him.
are you trying to, like, snoop as opposed to...
I'm just kind of seeing what he's writing.
Uh,
Not like really
That'll be
full on
snooping.
staring at him, but
yeah.
just kind of.
Give me a perception check.
In front of you on the bus.
We'll see what you can see. Yeah, I mean, you can basically just do this and just completely read everything he's writing because you have wonderful half-elven eyes, very powerful. Yeah, so you start taking notes and Alina looks over to you and says, are you some sort of scholar? To Mick.
Well, scholar is just to say the least of it. Mick Mjordan, world famous author.
Oh yeah, she already has no idea who you are.
She's like, really? Did you spell it twice?
Yeah, what do you write? What do you write? What books?
You may have heard of it. A little gem called Percy Jackson and the Wizard Boy. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal book. It's about a wizard. It's about some evil magics going on. So a couple of adventurers going around. So I'm just, trying to get a couple notes going.
So, sorry, you write magic book?
Oh no.
God.
Every episode.
Yeah, it's just a book. It's just a storybook. You may have read it. A storybook. I pull out my own copy. That I've got.
No,
Book.
books.
Do you
Books
recognise
too
it?
dangerous for Gondash. No,
I mean, you don't look like a book reader.
no.
You lie. But never mind. I put back my copy of Percy Jackson and the Wizard Boy. Taking a couple notes. Just look back down, push my glasses back up.
Kind of look down at Malkai and just go, be cautious of other small person. He writes book. Very dangerous.
It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be fine.
I don't trust.
Okay.
Alina says, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to very quickly head back to the helm and try and sort of find the murder weapon and see if anybody saw anything. If you wouldn't mind just looking after the prisoner for a small amount of time.
Sure. I'm just gonna sit down.
Eyes on the prize.
Yeah, she looks back at Gondash and says, and unless he breaks out, please stay your hand.
I will stay calm.
And she heads outside. But as soon as she opens the door, there's actually a bunch of people from the village who have sort of gathered outside, and the door opens, and just beyond where this little lockup is, there's quite a few people sort of stood there. They all turn to you. They all look quite angry, and they start to very quickly speak to Alina. You can catch through just overhearing a few people speaking to her. A lot of them saw this guy Grindel plunge the knife into Callie's throat, and there's a little, like, youngish boy man, like 15 or so. He hands over a bloodied rag, and she opens it up. Inside it is the knife, and she thanks them, and she starts to calm down the mob by telling them that she's going to fetch the magistrate, who will deal with it the next day. A robed, priestly-looking man approaches. He is super thin. No, super big, actually. He's very large, but thin face, short brown hair, and very stern-looking. And he approaches Alina. She says, "Oh, hello, Imdar." And he sort of states that he's going to take care of the body. And he sort of sternly, coldly approaches her, says, "I'm going to deal with the body. You can find it at my church." And then he heads back off up the road towards the helm. There are a couple of people who stick around a little longer than the others. They actually have like rope, and they're sort of saying we should hang him. They're sort of doing a gondash, and they're super angry. We want him hung. We want him hung. She calms them down and sends them on their way. Most of them head back to the tavern, and she sort of turns around, brings the knife in, and puts it down on the table, closes the door, and says, "Well, that was easy, I suppose. I mean, it's getting late. We don't all need to stay here. If you'd like to leave, one of you could take a shift from me overnight."
Yeah, I can take a shift. It's cool.
I immediately don't look keen at taking a shift by myself.
Okay,
I
well,
would like to see church.
she just looks at Malachi and says, "Okay, well, if you wouldn't mind," and she sort of sits and jots down some notes on a piece of paper, and like some time working out type thing. She says, "Well, I suppose if you could come here at around 2 in the morning and then sit with him for a few hours. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'll leave to fetch the magistrate. But for now, you can go about your business. I suggest staying at the helm, though obviously it doesn't seem like the safest place. It really does have the best food and beds for the evening." And she says, I'll try and find you all tomorrow morning, and I'll see you tonight, Malachi."
I will actually volunteer to come with Malachi, though.
Okay. Malachi?
Yeah, sure. Company is always better than no company.
That's true.
All right. So she sits down, and she looks over the knife one last time, and then places it in the same drawer that she brought out the coin from. And yeah, you guys can leave and go wherever you'd like in town. You can just go to the helm and go to bed, or grab a night's sleep, or you can wander around. Up to you.
I'm up for just head back to the helm. Take a couple
Yeah,
nights.
I'm gonna go to sleep if we're getting up
Yeah.
to watch the guy. I was gonna play in the tavern, but I was gonna ask if I should play in the tavern, but I'm gonna go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
also
sit
straight.
the, on at number 25 for a while. And kind of
Wait, what's,
meditate for a while.
wait, what the fuck? What's 25?
I thought it's not
It's
written.
not on there.
It's like there's like a pond, or like here.
A pond and a
I'm
quarry.
just saying where it is on the map because it isn't actually. It doesn't exist.
I'll slowly find out what 25 is, since you're desperate to
I
go there.
don't care what it is. It's water, and I want to sit by it and meditate.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So you can just wander off down the road. You spy this little. It looks more like a quarry than a lake, but I
Yeah.
guess you head
There's water.
down there. Let me see what it is. Hold on. Why has that done that? I wonder what it is. And the rest of you head towards the helm at high sun. 25. No, there isn't a 25. There is just no 25 in this entire
Right,
thing.
it's
What the
fine.
fuck? This map is from a module called Princes of the Apocalypse, which I think is the best name ever, and I really want to play it, but I think it's a level 1 campaign, so so it involves me having to tweak. Yeah, as you head back to the tavern again, it's sort of back in full swing. Everyone seems to have cheered up. The blood has been cleaned, and people are mostly just going about their business again. There are a handful of people that look very disgruntled. You might recognize them as the ones who were calling for Grindel's immediate hanging. But in general, it looks like it's returned back to the sort of late, like early evening tavern atmosphere. It's probably only about 8:30. It's probably only been about half an hour, 45 minutes since you arrived, you know.
I'm just gonna get a nice drink.
Mm.
Well, and then just keep writing.
Okay, so you grab yourself a drink. You can remove a copper, and you can eat, or you can continue writing. Aelin, Malachi.
I'm going straight to bed because, I'm going to try and get a room, I guess, because it's already not very much sleep.
Okay. Yeah, so you just sort of head in. I presume that you work out with Malachi that, you know, you'll arrange to meet at 2 a.m.-ish, and then head off. Malachi?
Yeah, same. I'm just gonna maybe get a slice of bread or something, like, as my dinner, and then head to a room.
All right, so, yeah, take 2 silver away from your inventory, your gold. A silver is worth 10 gold for the record, Anna. So if you've only got gold there, then you'll have 9 silver instead of 1 gold. Did I say that wrong? All right, don't worry.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm sure you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I was thinking about some other thing that I'm gonna do now. So, as Gondash heads over towards this quarry area with a little lake next to it, it's very peaceful over here. And it's probably an area that has been worked at some point for some quarry type reason. And then there's a small little lake, and you settle in near the lake and do whatever it is you're going to do. What is it you're doing?
Just sit and meditate for a little while. Just chill out.
Yeah. While you're sort of chilling out, there's a crunch of footsteps approaching from behind you, quite softly. What do you do?
I can do nothing. I just continue to chill.
All right. So I guess we're not really in a tavern here. We're actually sort of outside somewhere, and we're away from town. So out here, all by yourself, there's this steady crunch of footsteps. There's this soft footfalls behind you, and then they actually pass behind you, and whichever, I guess, to your right, as you're looking out over this pond, you see a sort of very small, sort of tiny woman, really, but human, with wispy white hair, very sort of old, but probably once fairly nice, not quite noble finery, but nice looking clothes. And she heads past and heads down towards the lake sort of area, and she sits down as well and does a similar thing to you, and sort of sits and just quietly and wistfully looks out over the lake.
I don't pay any attention to her. Just kind of smile a little bit and continue to meditate.
Cool. How long do you stay there?
What time is it?
Well, it was about 9:15, 9 o'clock.
A couple of hours, and then I'll like 2, and then I'll go back to the tavern.
After about an hour, she gets up and slowly leaves. She gives you a little bit of a look, and just heads back into town, yeah, you're left alone for another hour, and then you head back to the tavern where everybody seems to have gone to sleep apart from this little wizard Mick, presumably still sat up writing, drinking maybe.
Yeah, drinking. Might have had a bite to eat by this point.
He'd be the only person you recognise here.
I go to sleep.
Alright.
Alright.
Head up and go. You grab a room, dock of silver. Mick, at some point, I guess you
Yeah,
take a room.
Probably as he comes in, and maybe I turn around and spot him, and then I notice the time, perhaps. Like, oh, a bit late, isn't it? Maybe I should probably head to bed.
Okay. Yeah, you head to sleep as well. Around 2 a.m., the tavern is still open, but it's as if it's coming to a close. There isn't as many people here as there were earlier on. There's just a handful of very drunken-looking patrons who look like they possibly live in the stall that they're sat on. Malachi and Aelin meet downstairs. What do you want to do?
I mean, I probably look like I look now. Just
You know exactly how to feel for this entire campaign, which is great. I'm glad that we've accidentally made you tired.
Let's go, I guess. Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
to the place.
Yeah, so you head down to the little lock-up area, which is, of course, just a little shed room hidden away, and you knock on the door. Whatever her name is, Alina opens it up. She sort of looks a little bleary-eyed, a little tired herself. She says, "Oh, I'm glad to see you. I almost nodded off a few times, though I don't think he seems to care." Over her shoulder, he's moved off of the stall that was provided for him, and he's sat in a corner. Grindal is just sat, curled up in like a ball, with his legs and knees tucked up in his arms. And she says, "Well, he hasn't said much to me, aside from the usual thing. Oh, I didn't know what was happening. I don't remember it. I don't know what's going on. Of course, a likely story. I'm going to go and head back and just catch a couple of hours, and I'll head out quite early to go and fetch the magistrate, and I'll head by here and make sure that I speak to you before I go. If anything's wrong, I live here, which is number 12 on the map. Where's that? Yeah, nearby. Right next to some sort of fine stonery. And unless you have anything to say to her, she heads out.
Nothing.
All right. So you guys head in. The room's pretty bare. The knife isn't on the table. The only real thing going on in this room is that this gentleman Grindal is sat in his cell.
He's awake, right?
Yeah, he is awake, yeah.
Yeah,
I
can
mean-
Go on.
Okay.
Anna, please. Go on.
I mean, I guess I kind of probably look a little bit hesitant to talk in front of him.
Okay. I mean, he seems fairly secure in there, in that it is a fairly well built cell. So you could step outside, keep the door open ajar, and just step outside and speak in private if you wanted to do something like that.
I mean, I don't really know Malachi either.
Not yet. This could be your opportunity. Late night.
That's true. I feel like I'm going to just kind of sit around and wake up a bit first.
Yep. Gonna make yourself a
And
nice
I might-
coffee.
Out of chickens.
chickens.
Ooh, chicken coffee.
That
Ooh.
sounds
Does sound
wonderful.
great.
I might just kind of like look at him and see if I can tell anything about him. Like, does he look like he's crazy? Does he look like he's...
Give me an insight check. So insight is sort of how you read body language on people and things like that. 10. He sort of looks. You would say if you wandered in and just had no idea what was going on, you would presume that he was a prisoner of war or something. He looks shell shocked,
Right.
kind of more scared than angry or upset that he was imprisoned or anything like that. He's sort of shaking. He's a little bit wide-eyed. He's got these bags under his eyes, but he seems to be like fairly wide awake. He's reacting to you more than he was earlier on. Like if you're looking at him, he's sort of looking at you and then just goes back to his own thoughts. But yeah, generally that's probably all you can pick up with the 10.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask him what he remembers of the stabbing?
He looks up at you with wide eyes. Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah.
Nice. He sort of looks up at you, and then you see his face sort of soften down. The fear drains out of it a little bit as he sees you're a person of whichever god. What is it? Tyr?
Tempest.
No, Tempest.
Tempest.
Yeah, he sees that you're a cleric, and he sort of softens down a little bit, and he says, "Are you a cleric?"
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very glad that you're here, though you certainly bruised my back. And then he looks back up at you again and says, "I'll be honest with you. I remember everything. I reached down to my side, and I put the dagger into poor Callie's neck. I did it, but I don't know why."
Oh boy. That doesn't sound good. Do you remember what happened before that? Like, was there anything unusual to your day?
No, fairly average day for me. I woke up, I had some breakfast, and I started work on my cottage. It's a little run down, so I've been doing some work to renovate it. And then, after a fairly decent day working some odd jobs around the village, I went to get some dinner. And while I was ordering my food, I reached down, and he sort of trails off.
What do you think, Galen? Have you seen anything like this before?
Would I have seen anything like this before? I might have read about something like this before.
Yeah, give me a history check to see if you recognize anything that he's saying. He hasn't really given you a lot to go on, though. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing as you might garner from as Malkai did, in that it sounds like either he's bullshitting you and he just straight up killed her for some reason, or if he's telling the truth, it would have had to have been some sort of magical interference if it was if you're sort of gonna believe him in the same way. I mean, as a bard, you're fairly familiar with charm spells and things like that, so
Well, I guess then I'm going to ask him, did you meet anyone new during the day, or was it just a completely
no,
normal day?
nobody new. No, to be honest, I haven't seen anybody new for at least a week, until your group stopped me as I fled. He looks away ashamed a moment.
And nothing like this has ever happened here before.
Give me a persuasion roll. He's just like, his eyes stay down to the ground. He just says, well, no, not to my knowledge, but I've only been here for a year or so.
That's true.
Can I do an insight to see if he's lying?
Yeah.
Can I do one too?
Yeah.
So bad.
Do it.
I'm just moving between tabs.
Oh, yeah. I forget that everyone doesn't have 3 widescreen screens. Sometimes. Because it's just so easy for me. I'm like, can click, and I'm over to here, and I'm doing this. I mean, he seems like he's telling the truth to you guys. It's a very strange situation. You don't have a lot of stuff to go on, so it's not like you're not 100% sure. You can't solidly say. But as far as you're concerned, especially with those roles, he seems like he's telling the truth. Seems more confused and shocked than he does deceptive.
Where is this cabin?
Do you ask him?
Yes.
He looks up and says, "Oh, my cottage lies on the sort of eastern edge of the village on the Cairn Road. It's a rather decrepit-looking thing. Heard I've been doing some repairs to it. I was rather proud of the work."
Did anything happen while you were doing the repairs?
No.
Maybe there's something in the cabin. Cottage.
The cottage.
I mean, at the moment, I'm leaning towards in my head that he's just killed her. Because I'm tired and I can't be bothered.
Yeah, you're happy to hang him.
I'm also kind of wondering, like, why we're here, like this. But I'm not going to let on to that at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like make plans to go to the cottage.
Yeah, like tomorrow.
morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to come as well. I want to see if we can find anything out.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not very convinced we will.
Yeah. He sort of looks at you. He seems a little untrustworthy of you, a little more so than it seemed at first, specifically you, Malachi. Like he's pulled back and he's being a little bit less revealing in what he's saying as you start to converse with him or end conversing with him, and you guys sort of settle in and I guess just relax, just enter that kind of late night, I'm tired, and we're just going to sit here quietly and just do whatever you want to do in that time.
I'm probably humming something.
Malachi is probably smashing shit up because she's a war priest. Just chipping away at the door with a hammer. Like the next 4 or so hours pass and the sun begins to rise. And with that, I think we'll go to a quick break. Give these people a chance to wake up and go and get themselves a coffee, or the others to go and get themselves a nice fresh packet of methamphetamines. So quick meth break, and then when we'll return, the group will reunite and they can continue on their way. The mystery continues here in Red Larch. We'll see you in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lurker beneath Red Larch. Larch.
Whoa!
I can't be bothered to buy any more audio equipment because I just spent too much money on this stuff that I don't really need, but I
There is
don't
a lot
like.
in that room.
Yeah, it's just I don't have anything to spend my money on. I don't buy anything, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy some nice audio equipment because it's just the only thing I can think of that I want in life, and I don't need it. But like now, because of McCloakan's Sacred Flame, I really
It is
want
very-
the Echo
it is
thing
very-
just purely for the once a week that I say Sacred Flame, flame, because I feel like everyone that casts that on this channel has to do it in that way. Bear that in mind, Malachi. You've probably got Sacred Flame, I don't know.
I feel like it's a requirement for a cleric.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just
Um,
free damage.
over the next 4 hours, let me just do a thing. Over the next 4 hours of the night times, let me jump back onto roll 20 because for some reason I was not on roll 20. We have some stuff that went down. All right. What happened, you cry, Brad? What happened? Well, I just don't know. I do really. Grindle falls asleep eventually after maybe 2 hours into the 4 or so hours that you were asked to look after him. And give me insight checks, Aelin and Malachi, please. Another 10. These are some unlucky rolls. The 10 is just enough to make out that he appears to be sort of rolling around. Why did you re-roll in? You don't get to re-roll.
Lucky thing.
Lucky thing. Yes, you do. You get a 12. So both of you can just about make out that he's clearly having some sort of like terrible nightmare. He's sort of shaking around on the ground, and it's like a night terror type looking nightmare. He's like sort of crying out a little bit, and he sort of shakes himself awake at one point and wide-eyed looks over towards you, breathing. He's got like a thin sweat to him, and he sort of shakes himself and sits back up again, kind of trying to stay awake but looking very tired.
Can I
While he
ask?
was-
Sorry.
I was going to say, while he was asleep, could I have maybe investigated him a bit closer?
Yeah?
Just kind of gingerly gone towards him and looked at him. So that's investigation.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
I mean, I guess I want to see. I mean, he's obviously having nightmares. I guess I just want to see, like, what's he doing? Is he like, I don't know. Is he like in a cold sweat? Is he looking like he's doing something in his nightmare? Like, you know, when dogs are asleep and they run or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can probably work that out just off of the insight check in that, yeah, he's sort of, he's just freaking out. He's just having, like, an absolutely awful nightmare.
And is there anything else I can tell about him, though, just by looking at him?
Not
Should I-
really. No.
Okay.
It'd just be, I mean, all of his things have been taken off of him, but all he really had on him was, like, a purse with a few coins in it.
Right.
And then the knife, which is now in the drawer. If you took any time looking over the purse, it's just a plain purse with like a very small amount of coin in there, not a lot at all. But yeah, in terms of him, he's just having a crazy nightmare, and then he wakes up very sharply, looking at you guys. Yeah, how do you react, if at all? You just leave him.
Can I ask if he's alright? Like, if he needs anything? Or, like, water or something? A blanket?
Yeah, he gives you a little nod. He kind of has a tattered blanket already. There's just one that would have been provided for him, sort of thing. I mean, there's just a stool and then a bucket in this cell. And that's about it, but he does have a little blanket.
I'm going to generally look kind of friendly to help her out, I guess, so as not to be discouraging to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he gives you a nod, asks, yeah, some water would be nice, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and find some.
Yeah, I mean
Don't
you
know
can
where
find
this-
some water. You've probably even got some of your own, but there's
Oh, yeah.
there'll be some water about left around. You can
Yeah.
pour him like a cup, pour it into a little wooden cup and hand it through the bars. He sort of graciously takes it, sips on it, and then drinks it back quickly, and then hands the cup back through the bars and nods towards you and returns to his sort of corner, wrapping the.
I'm going to ask him what he dreamed. What did he dream about?
Yeah,
In a kind
yeah, go on.
of non-threatening way, though.
Yeah, give me a persuasion check.
1 second.
It's
How many
it's
did
it's
you roll?
yeah, they're like you're rolling quite low, but it's not it's enough.
That's a civilian.
Yeah, he sort of stops for a moment, but he just looks completely like out of options, and he looks up to you and just says, "Well, no doubt you think me mad already. I've been having some very strange nightmares recently. That's all. They come and go in intensity. Doesn't really look up towards you."
What happens in these nightmares?
A quick glance up at you and then down again. Well, no doubt you'll see it as a coincidental excuse after last night, but a terrible cloaked figure whispers violent suggestions to me in these dreams. And then I tend to do them. Burn things, strike things down in violence, take blades to others. And he looks up at you again and looks down.
Tell me about the cloaked figure. What can you tell about it?
Give me a persuasion check again.
Not a 10. It's not a 10.
Nice, yeah, not bad. He says, sometimes the figure just appears to be a shadow, some sort of man. And then sometimes he looks almost impish, and smaller, more compact, large wings off of his back. Always the same voice, always the same whispers.
What does his voice sound like?
Let's give him a performance check. With disadvantage because he's fucking knackered. He says, he sounds a lot like this. You must murder the... No, it doesn't sound like that at all. You must murder the... You must... Oh, I'm not very good at voices. Looks
Can you
down.
describe it to me though? Does he have a low voice or
Rasping.
high?
Rasping. Almost
To be expected, I guess.
like a creature.
Like a particular kind of creature?
Grindel has very little knowledge of creatures. He
It's
just...
like a creature. That's alright.
He says, I wouldn't know. Often I wake up and try my best to forget the dream as quickly as I can, to be honest.
I don't blame you.
Pulls his cloak in tighter. Any more questions for him?
I don't think so. I'm going to look at Malkai and sort of attempt to non-verbally communicate. Do you think this might have something to do with it? It obviously does kind of a way.
Yes.
Mhm.
I will communicate that back. So,
Wait, what are you saying?
Well, I guess it's basically what we're going to be trying to follow up.
yeah, the dreams were like
Like
absolutely.
specifically word it for me in some way?
I can't do words at this time of the morning. Well, basically what I said before was, I think this has got something to do with it. She does too, obviously. We want to find out
So you
more.
just
That's
you
the
just
point.
sort of believe him in that these nightmares are real and that they have something to do with what's going on with him. Okay, so you're presumably going to leave him alone, stick to your plan, maybe go and check out his place when Alina returns.
Can I make like with thaumaturgy? Can I make like the sound of rain?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Or make the sound of like nice, tiny rain.
Okay. For what purpose? Let's see if I have rain.
It's
This one?
calming.
Is that rain? We have rain. I can make a storm.
Suddenly a storm.
Suddenly, there's
On
some rain. Yeah. So you just make rain for yourself.
Oh no, just the sound. Like out from outside, like just some kind of rain sound.
Cool.
So that
He
everyone feels
pulls his thing in tighter and says, "Rain? That seems strange. Wouldn't have expected that." And trails off again.
You know, the weather.
Anything else from you guys?
I mean, after some amount of time, especially if he goes back to sleep, I might chat with Malachi a bit.
Let's see if he goes back to sleep. Yes, and he sleeps a little more soundly this time.
He doesn't look like he's having nightmares.
No, he just seems to be... He's probably more than likely passed out from just exhaustion and lack of sleep at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're free to question Malkai. You wanted to question her on something?
Well, I'm gonna start by asking. So, where have you come from? Where are you going? Why are you here?
You know, just like having some adventures. Maybe earn a bit of coin.
Cool. Nice.
What do you do? I see you have like an instrument or something.
I play music,
Oh, nice.
mostly for a living. I chase
Ooh.
stories.
Any good music?
I mean, I don't really want to wake him up, but
Maybe tomorrow then.
maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow I find my way. That distantly plays on a viola somewhere. The stereophonics. The next morning rolls round. I would presume that Elena told Gondash and Mick that she would be leaving around 6 a.m. So you guys can do with that information what you will. If you want to arrive at the same time as she does, or if you guys are going to do something else in the morning. It's up to you.
I'm gonna head over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll head over.
All right. So thaumaturgy is probably worn off by now. And the town's starting to wake up. It's not like in full swing yet, but people are starting to move around. And Gondash and Mick arrive just a little bit before Alina. They head in. You can have filled them in on the things that Grindel has said.
Has he woken up again?
In that time? No, he'll still be asleep at this point. It's only been 2 hours or so since you last spoke to him. Then these guys show up. After 5-10 minutes, after you've explained some things, the constable, Alina, shows up. She heads in to the little garden shed area and looks to Malachi and Aelin and says, "So did anything happen? Did he speak to you? Learn anything new?"
Well, had some nightmares, poor guy. But we might have a lead. I still think it's kind of magical what happened to him. I don't know, but I want to check his cabin out, his cottage, right? His cottage out, and see if there's anything suspicious there.
Yeah. That seems logical. Yes, you're free to investigate further, however you wish. I've got, and she sort of looks out the door to see if anybody else is out there, and she looks back in and says, "Well, the butcher's boy is going to be sat in here during the day. He often does so if I'm needed elsewhere. So your watch has ended," she says, and looks over you all and says, "I suppose if you'd like to head up to his cottage, I believe it's on the Cairn Road, the old Nightwall cottage, I think." Looks over to him. He's asleep. Not too sure. Perhaps you could ask around town where he lives.
Yeah, he said it was on the Cairn Road, and I don't like he described it as a bit like worn down, and he's been working on it. So I guess we'll find it.
Yes, it must be Nightwall then. Yes, I'm sure you'll find it. And she busies herself for a second. She packs a small bag full of a couple of things, puts a cloak on, and then she's got like a ring of keys. She takes one of them off, hands it to Malachi, and states that it is it's one of the keys that will open the lock, the padlock. She says that she'll give another one to the butcher's boy, and she'll be back the following afternoon, and that the lockup generally doesn't need to be watched during the day, and that the butcher's family will generally look after it unless you take the watch from them, kind of thing. So you're free to wander about and things like that. She places some bread on a bowl, a cup of water, and just puts it inside the bars for him, and turns and says, "Well, I'll be on my way. When the magistrate comes, make sure you say nice things about Red Larch. He's very parochial." Anything else? Thank you very much for your help.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've been wanting to ask for a while. I'm just not quite sure why you trust us.
Let's see.
You don't know who we are. We don't even know who each other are.
I'm an honorable cleric.
She
Okay, so I can trust you.
Trust me.
World-renowned author.
she looks across each of you and says, I've actually heard of Miss Malachi here." She smiles at Malachi. Malachi Firestorm, I believe.
Yes.
Uh, you were one of the people that helped a very, very trusted friend of mine recently in Neverwinter, actually.
Oh yeah, that guy. A bit of a funny creature, isn't he?
He's a human.
Yes.
I suppose we might seem a little odd to you, halfling folks.
Ooh, that's racist. Don't say that. Ooh, I'm putting that in my book. Ooh.
Malachi was being racist.
No, I was just saying he can sink into the earth at will.
Yeah.
That is something curious, isn't
You
it?
could sink into the earth at will. That's interesting.
He,
You'll have to tell me this story one day.
She sort of
Yeah.
I would also love to know the story.
she laughs and says, "Yes, I suppose he can be odd in his ways. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve, though he was a fairly renowned adventurer from Red Larch himself. So yes, he's told word of everybody that helped him." Surprised Gondash isn't gutted here because she doesn't give a fuck about him.
Do it, I'm a half orc.
All right, too dumb.
Get about half orcs.
And so she looks back and says, "Of course there is. I had no one else at the time last night. The butcher's family were away. They were catching chickens. As they often do, they go and catch wild chickens for different types of chicken. They need chicken. They need wild chickens. They need chickens from the lake chickens. They need tree chickens."
I do not think that they are chickens in the lake.
She doesn't know much about chickens. She just says, I'm afraid I don't know much about chickens. I've got more important work to deal with, but they're back now and they'll look after it. And I recognize a cleric when I see a cleric, and generally you're very trustworthy folk. And you seemed to fit the description of certain Maokai Firestorm. Helped a very trusted friend of mine out.
You got it, Jared.
Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, she says, I suppose in a way that you're sort of temporary deputies until I get back tomorrow. Will there be anything else?
About the chickens.
The lake chickens?
She high fives a little kid that walks in. It's the same 15-year-old boy that had the knife. And she says, "Oh, thank you very much." And she sits him down in a corner and says, "Well, goodbye." Actually, retcon is not the same 15-year-old boy. It's just some random 15-year-old boy. He's 16.
Okay.
Ooh, 16.
It's a 15-year-old boy who is also 16.
He's an irrelevant person. He almost goes completely under your radar at this point.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna go towards the cane road and go
I'm
to
going to.
find the cottage.
Heading straight along the eastern road towards the cottage that you
Farmer's cottage.
are heading for. Yeah. The what's everybody's passive perception?
13.
Also 13.
13.
It's above your tool.
13.
13. 12. Alright. Gondash doesn't notice anything, but there is a point as you're walking along the eastern road, you pass one house and there's a twitchy curtain and there's a woman following you. She sort of looks at the group, looks up towards the down the road towards the east, and then looks back at you all, and then you see her close the curtains, and as you continue up the road a little further, she opens the door and just watches you for a moment. A very tiny, frail woman, wispy white hair. We, the viewer, would recognise her as the same person who sat next to Gondash last night. The rest of you don't recognise her, and Gondash is too busy kicking stones down the road to care. Thinking about chickens.
Think about chickens.
And I'm
gonna
like,
ask-
I notice she's doing this, right?
I mean, you all notice her, yeah. She's just a...
Turn on point, and carry on.
Mm-hmm. She clicks back, because everyone has to. Even the darkest, most devilish villain will do it back.
I'm going to ask her, is everything all right? Can we help you?
She sort of walks over to you, very old. She does have quite sad eyes, though, as you sort of get closer to her. She looks up and says, "You're investigating the death of poor Callie?"
Yes.
I saw the big one I was going to speak to him, but he looked like he was deep in prayer. I didn't disturb him. I left him to his ways last night. She sort of nods towards him and then looks back and says, yes, you're heading up to the old Nightwall cottage, aren't you?
Yes.
I thought as much. I should let you know, I think. 10 years ago, my husband Dale was sentenced to hang here in Red Larch for stabbed a young man to death.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
The thing is, he was a very gentle old man. No reason to commit the murder. And a few months before he did so, we were living in that there cottage, and we both began having very strange, violent nightmares. And that cottage is cursed. I would just like to warn you now. And I blame the cottage for my husband's crimes.
Can you tell me more about the nightmares?
Oh, give me a
What
persuasion
sort
check.
of nightmares?
She also looks super old, like she might forget at any moment what is going on. 19, yeah, so her eyes focus and she says, oh, terrible things. A horrible man would whisper violent suggestions to us to burn things, kill people.
That sounds awful.
Usual. I get you.
I have
And
had
the-
similar
And did you ever have to act on them,
No,
or were they nightmares for you?
I moved out. I moved to here. This smaller single bedroom apartment. Cheap rent. I couldn't afford the rent after my husband disappeared.
Did he tell you anything about his nightmares?
It seems they were the same, which is why we both believe it's the cottage. Otherwise, I would have blamed it on my old age.
I still say we burn cottage.
I think we should look at it first,
But
but
we
carefully, mate.
It sounds like magic.
Yeah.
It sounds dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to destroy.
But then we might never know what's going on.
I see your point.
Hmm.
May I ask, old woman, what were you praying to, last night?
Me?
Yes.
I pray
Water
to
elementals.
Eldath, the lake goddess, when by a lake. This very spiritual, peaceful deity. Of course, if I was riding into battle, and she, as hard as she can, hits Maokai on the armor, although it's like being hit by an autumn leaf. She says, I would probably send a prayer up to your god. She then looks at Maokai and says, if you wouldn't mind, please bless my house. And keep me safe if you're going into that terrible place. You don't have to say anything. You just can tell me that you do it or you don't with a little prayer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna nod and be like, you're gonna be safe.
Yeah. And she turns and starts heading back in. Well, please be careful. You never know, I could just be a crazy old woman. And she sort of smiles, but it looks filled with sadness. And she heads back into her little house and...
I say thank you for your help before she does.
May the elements be with you. To the house.
All right, so you head up to the cottage, which is on the Cairn Road, and like Grindol suggested, it is a rather decrepit-looking cottage, though there's obviously evidence of like repairs that he's been undertaking. It sits like alone on the probably even further out than this map allows for, somewhere further out to the east, on a very slight incline as the road goes up. It seems to be one of the only cottages out here, usually accompanied by a farm. This appears to have maybe at one point been a farm cottage, though the land around is completely overgrown, like it hasn't been one for like 50 plus years. It's just a sort of standalone cottage now. And you head away from the town. So finally you get a little map to play around with. Yay. Yay. That's great, guys. That's just great. And although this has dynamic lighting on, it's not nighttime. It's early on in the day. And you guys are over here. Way over there. And yeah, so like I know that this is dynamically lit, but realistically it's just to give you an idea of the line of sight and stuff like that as you head in. The front door is closed but unlocked as you come up to approach it, and you can essentially head in. It is directly ahead of where your tokens are. As you approach, small door, human-sized door. A couple of windows around it, but generally a fairly small cottage would house one person comfortably, two people a little more snugly.
Does everyone have 50?
Uh-oh. She warned us.
Oh no.
She warned us that she had dodgy internet. And once again, third week in a row. Nope, she's back.
Right. Hello.
What did you say?
If like everyone had just 15 feet radius, but if I go inside, it's fine. So, never mind.
Yeah, it will be the wall blocking your sight, line of sight. You should have what you have on your sheets. Yeah, what do you do as you approach?
Dark vision. Something.
Sorry?
I don't have dark vision. That's why I basically can't see.
Oh, yeah, that's why, yeah.
Interesting.
Before I go in, I want to put my hand to the floor, pick up some mud, and just kind of let it fall through my fingers. I don't want to keep the door open.
Okay, give me an athletics check. You kick the door, it's unlocked, but you just sort of stub your toe against it instead of, you don't get your foot up at a high enough angle, and you just kind of stub your toe. The door rattles in the door frame, but doesn't like kick down or bust open or anything. You just kind of bang your toe against it, and it just lets out a large boom, a thud.
Does it swing open or does it stay closed, even though
No.
it's unlocked?
Yeah, it's unlocked, but there's still a latch, like a ring latch that you can
I
lift.
think the door may be locked.
Can I?
Key.
No, can I do thaumaturgy again and like let the door fling open?
Yeah.
I tried to look it up.
I guess. Oh yeah, you can unlock a door, or like just cause it to slam open.
Open the
Yes.
door. Yeah, it's not a locked door. It's just someone needs to move the handle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you do have hands. Yeah, you utter a few words, and the door just opens up, and you can see just inside this sort of like main room. You can pretty much all, as the door opens up, notice a few things. There's a sort of broken table, not like broken as in it's just utterly destroyed, but just very old and very tattered, like quickly repaired table. There's a few chairs, an old iron stove in a corner. There's a broom leaning up against the wall. Most of the room is fairly dusty, though parts of the floor have been like recently swept. There's a pile of wood in one corner, and then there's a cabinet on one side, and then a couple of doors that lead into rooms further into the cottage. Looks fairly normal, like fairly standard, not some sort of high class, high living thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stroll in.
You open the door with your voice, or did the house open itself?
Oh no, you know, things I can do. Magic.
You did open it. The house isn't alive.
No, it's just a house.
I'm staying in the doorway for a second just to see if anything immediately happens to any of them.
Okay.
She'll die.
Yeah, they like step through the threshold, and Aelin kind of tenses up, waiting for something to like happen, to trap or a demonic entity to rise up, and yeah, no, they just step over the threshold, and it. Yeah.
All right, I guess I join them then.
Nothing immediately untoward happens to the group.
There is plenty of tinder with which to start a fire, if we need to. But as you
Well.
say, we should check out first, destroy later.
Yes, I think so.
It's a good plan.
What's in the cabinet? Just want to check everything out.
Yeah, you open up the cabinet. It contains sort of a sack of flour, a bottle of oil, a little tiny barrel of ale, and then there are a handful of sausages that are hanging from the roof, but they're covered in flies.
Yeah.
Ah.
Sounds pretty good to me.
You want to eat them? You want to cook them up? A little bit of breakfast?
Does it look like it kind of almost sounds like it looks like people don't live here?
Give me like a general perception check. Maybe. Or maybe he just doesn't really take care of himself too much.
Right.
And do a perception check of this room that I'm in.
What are you trying to do?
Just to see if there's like anything out the ordinary
Okay.
bedroom.
Yeah, like Gondash heads into the bedroom, and this room has actually been swept very cleanly. There's an old bed with like fresh linen on it. There's a spare set of clothes that look like they would fit just your average human on one end of the bed. On the wall, there's like some tools, like a little saw, a plane, a mallet, chisel, dividers, things like that you would like a general odd job man would have. As you're sort of like wandering around this room, you sort of like look over the bed, maybe give it a pat down. You actually find a very small purse hidden in the bed frame, and it contains 35 silver and a copper locket containing a portrait of a dark-haired young lady, which I will give you in the Zoom chat so you can continually... So you can put that somewhere. I don't know if you want to keep it.
Can I have a look at this table where I am?
Yeah. All right.
Gander.
Yeah. So you're looking over this little table here, and you actually start to hear some weird, like, voices, and for a moment you think it's Aelin and Malkai behind you. You turn around to see, like, what are you whispering at me for? What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, huh?
And yeah, no, you hear this little weird voice, and as you sort of turn to think, like, what are they saying? you see they're not moving their mouths, but you definitely hear the words, "You don't belong here," for a moment.
Do we hear it too?
No, just Mick. Looking over the table itself, it's sort of a writing desk. It has like a little stool, and there's just a couple of old crumbling books on there. There's A Wanderer in the Spirit Lands, which is a fictional book. There's The Signature of All Things, and there's The Forbidden Rites of Death Magic.
Damn it. I wanted to see a nice copy of Percy Jackson sitting on the table.
Yeah.
But no, I will pick up The Forbidden Rites of Death Magic.
Yep.
And I will also then turn around to Aelin and Malky and be like, I heard a voice in me head. Said I shouldn't be here. Thoughts?
Maybe we shouldn't be here.
I'm just gonna go towards this trapdoor here. I spot it and just open it and just fling it open.
Fine. Yeah. Alright, let's do that.
Alright. I feel like for one day you're gonna die, Cookie, when you do these things. You just step into a thing.
I mean, I've died once before doing the same shit.
Yeah, let me just acknowledge the fact that Elspeth has done something that I had told her never to do. I said to Elspeth once upon a time, "Elspeth, you must never go there. That is Brad Werter's channel." And she said, "I don't care. I've just finished a 24-hour stream, and she's probably out of her mind with lack of sleep, but she's decided to raid me with a stupid amount of people." Well done. Welcome, raiders. We're just playing a very chill game of D&D. The group, to fill you in, have randomly decided to wander into a weird cottage. There's a man. It's not randomly. There was a man in a town who killed someone under suspicious circumstances. He just randomly killed this woman, and then they spoke to him a little bit before he is sentenced to death. He revealed that he lived in this cottage and was having these weird thoughts and things like that. And you've come in at a pretty good time, because they've actually just started to investigate his house, and they found a couple of odd-looking tomes, books, and then the halfling cleric of the group, with, I'm sure, extreme caution, just opens up a trap door. It slams open, and then there's just a set of like there's a wooden ladder with a set of rungs that head down maybe about 15 feet into a basement area. Looks generally like an earthen basement down there, but there is like wooden planks along the walls and along the floor, as if it is a constructed basement, not a secret thing. But yeah, like as you fling it open, nothing launches out at you. You going down?
Good.
Guys, I've found something. And yeah, I light a torch. Is it called a torch? Yeah, it's called.
You light a torch, yeah.
And climb down.
You climb on down. Everybody
I
else?
follow.
Mick follows.
Onwards for the story.
Onwards for the story.
I look to see if Gondash is coming as well.
Yeah, I hear you shouting about trapdoors and things. I found in the room, a small copper pendant. Do you know who it is? Of?
Oh, so it's a Sal. That's Sally, isn't it?
Who is Sally?
My wife.
Give me a deception check, Nido.
My wife.
Yeah, Gondash, you believe him.
So, what can you tell me about this Sally?
What's there to say? She's a lovely lady. No.
Why is
Can
she
I-
independent?
Enjoy
Is what I'm
sewing.
Why would Farmer Man have a picture of Sally?
Oh no, I left it here.
You left it here.
Yeah.
When were you in this house?
Yeah, before. It's fine. Been a long time ago. Nah, don't worry about it.
Cleric friend, small person. I really do not trust this wizard man. He writes books and comes to haunted houses.
Can I roll to see if I know whether Sally is his wife? Because I've heard of him before, and I liked his book, so I might know something about him.
You're a super fan. No.
Yeah. Give me a history check. No, because we'll take mixed 18 deception as a thing here. So you're unsure as to whether he's telling the
Alright.
truth, but it doesn't make sense.
Okay, so I note it down as something that I might try and find out about later.
Either
In my
that,
brain.
or it makes sense that suddenly a wizard shows up in town and then crazy magical things happen. It just so happens that his wife is in a pendant in a thing. So, if anything, Mick's probably going to die PvP by the end of this. We'll see.
Oh, no.
So, Malkai heads down into the basement.
Don't anger the
Boom.
barbarian.
Into darkness.
Look, you
Into
already hate me because I write books.
And,
All the more reason for the barbarian to be angry.
did this work? Can you see?
I can see a
I
Yeah.
can see.
Down here
I can
in the
see.
basement, there is just a very small room. It heads down into utter and complete darkness other than by torchlight. The walls, again, are very earthen. The floor does have some wooden planks on it, and it's basically completely filthy, covered with stone, dirt, and old wood everywhere. There's a chest against one wall. As you approach it, 13 passives, you can smell that it doesn't smell very nice at all. What do you do?
Wrinkle my
I
nose.
wanna-
Stand far away enough from the chest so that if anything does happen, I'm fine.
Mhm.
Someone else can open the chest. Go for it.
Yeah, I
Actually,
just want to.
see. I can't see anything.
You can't see anything?
No.
Alright.
At the bottom of the map.
Yeah, scroll down. Hang on. I think if I do this.
All right. Yep. Tiny
should
little
drag you
space.
there.
I zoomed out, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
nice.
It's just me being scrub with my map making.
All the time.
All the time here, yeah, because I haven't got time to cater to your childish needs, Noodle Leaf. You would get what you're given, child.
You shall be happy.
Yeah, so there's pretty much all there is in this room. It's just this little chest.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Mhm.
All right. I'm gonna move further away then while you do that.
As Malkai heads over to it, well, what are you doing, Gondash?
Just staying here.
Alright.
I don't sense any immediate danger.
As Malkai moves over to it, it does actually begin shaking a little bit. There's the sound of like rattling coming from inside.
All right.
Well, I noticed the rattling as someone with passive perception.
Don't know. Just sounds like
Can I firebolt it?
yeah.
I want to shoot the chest.
Do it. Roll to hit.
God, I want to jump back in case. Yeah, I want to jump back.
All right.
I'm gonna head back towards the
Go on.
ladder.
Give me the damage of the firebolt.
You're just gonna
I click it again, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
You're gonna kill me.
Wait.
No. You
I
click.
click on the one in chat.
You
okay.
click on the yeah. So a firebolt lets off, and suddenly the room is lit up a little bit more than just the simple torchlight from Malkai's torch, and the firebolt launches across towards this chest, seemingly at random from Mick. It hits the wall just beyond the chest, and some embers flick off towards Malkai and just sort of like ignite and burn little bits of you on your neck and shoulder. It's not like too bad, but they set on fire and you have to put them out. It deals 1 damage to you. You completely miss the chest, however.
Well, I noticed that it comes from Mick. Or has it just a fire just appeared randomly?
Yeah, everyone can tell it came from Mick because he has to kind of mumble and move around and stuff.
How do you control fire?
You know, it's just got it in the bag, you know. Bit of the old wizard magic.
So it's not. So you create the fire. You do not use the elements. You create them.
Creator of fire.
You create fire.
Magic, mate. I'm magic.
Power you contain. But perhaps it would be better if you were to hit the chest instead of the wall.
Look. Yeah, it probably would, wouldn't it?
Would you mind trying it again?
Give it another
I'm
go.
not normally one for plans. I'm not good at coming up with plans. I like to destroy. As you may have known.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that, lad. But you know what? I'm up to give it another shot.
But I do think that I'm proud of this plan that I have come up with, where you hit the chest with the fire and not the wall.
Ah, yeah. I got you. I'm gonna give it another go.
Another one. Give me the damage. So this firebolt launches towards this chest. It is mostly a brass banded chest, and the parts of it which are wooden are wooden. The padlock itself is brass as well. But this firebolt hits the top of the chest, and the initial impact burns away a lot of the chest and actually ignites the top of it, and it starts to spread and burn with this intense magical arcane fire burning across the top and opening the chest enough to maybe fit a large hand through. And as it does so, the chest rattles and moves again, and everybody starts to see something crawl out of it, and it is in fact a hand, a horrible sort of foul-looking, rotting hand steps out, or climbs out, and starts to move across the top of the burning chest. It jumps off, leaps off the side, and starts moving across the ground, heading basically towards Malkai and Gondash. And as each of you reacts to this thing, like ew, another one comes out, and then another one, and another one, and another one, and they start to spill out from this chest. In total, 8 hands crawl out of this chest
Person has.
and start moving towards you as a group. The image here is basically what's his name from Addams Family, Thing,
Yeah.
but a zombie version of Thing. And I'm gonna need everyone to roll me initiative.
Oh my
And,
Hey!
so how you do that, Anna, our resident noob, is you've done it. Okay. Click on it. Click on the token. You've heard me say it enough to people in the games.
Yep.
Click on your token and then click initiative.
Wait,
as
did I
all of
click
these-
on myself first?
I didn't.
I mean, you did it. You successfully rolled an initiative. So either way, you certainly.
Okay.
It
I actually didn't click on anything first. I just clicked on the word initiative, but I must.
Maybe
I've
you
got
were
myself
already selected.
Yeah.
Let me drag in all this shit now because there's a lot of them.
What's going on? I want to shout, God damn it, wizard.
It's always the fucking wizard.
It's always the fucking wizard.
Look, would you rather have opened that up and been grabbed by 8 hands at once? Thank you very much.
Maybe I wouldn't have opened it up. How about that?
Look, you do it for the story. This is going in my next book.
Story of we're all dead.
This is going in my next book. Percy Jackson and Spider Hands.
And the hand thief. Alright, so
Percy Jackson and the Dead Lady.
Percy Jackson and the dead lady. Alright, so boom, severed hands, loads of them. Spill
That's a
out,
lot of hands.
and you guys are gonna need to deal with this. So give me a sec, because another thing I need to do is roll like a million
Oh,
initiatives.
God.
Is everyone not on there?
Oh, there we go, now one. No, wait. No, I'm not on there.
Scrubbing it up, Nido. Scrubbing
What?
it
No,
up.
I rolled initiative. It didn't put me on the thing.
I don't believe you at all.
It's there.
Did you click on your token when you did it, or did you just roll the word initiative?
I mean, I just clicked the word initiative.
Yeah, you need to click on your person, Nido, so you fucked it up, didn't you?
Yeah.
Fucked it up, Nido.
Wait, did you roll a 0, Noodle? No, you fucked it up as well.
I
No,
did.
Because you've got
I
2 initiatives.
I re-rolled it because I forgot to click on myself.
Oh,
All right, you
there
can
it
take
is.
that, and then Mick rolled an 11. So,
I'll take the 18, mate. Well, I'm on there twice, Brad.
all right. Oh, you are? Oh, you rolled it twice. Okay.
I rolled it. Yeah. I'll take the 18. Sure.
Okay, and Mick rolled an 11. All right, so the very first person to deal with this is this hand. So the first hand that came running out actually heads over. It's in the square next to you, Malkai. So I know it doesn't look like it, but I guess I can do this for you. And this horrible little hand starts moving towards you. It moves in a dedicated way, not like it doesn't know that you are there. It does just immediately start moving straight towards you, and it attempts to attack you. Just remember that I do this on this now for these games because I don't have any control over these fights because these are modules. And it scratches out and claws at you as it runs towards you, presumably a 9 is a miss. And so you manage to just step out of the way of it as its horrible little rotten hand scratches at you with some rotting nails. Gondash, it is your turn.
As always, I draw the warhammer from my back, and a small rune appears on the head, and seems to like burn with fire. And I just kind of smash it into the floor and cast the spell, Burning Hands.
Nice.
Oh, there it is.
Nice, yeah.
15-foot cone in front of me, burning
Very.
all of the hands apart from the one beside me.
Yeah. Alright, dex saves. One.
Perfect spell.
Alright, so 1 make. 2 make. 3 make. 4 make. Fail. Make. Fail. So the two of them fail. 2 of them take half, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, so.
You take 14, the rest take 7.
So basically, like, all of them dive mostly out of the way of this flame. They just jump up in the air as this heat heads towards them. 2 of them are completely engulfed with them. 2 of them jump out of the way, but they're still caught by some of the flame as they jump, and yet somehow they are all still completely burnt away.
Can I also
burnt
roll
down.
for wild magic, please? Because that was a first level spell.
And then roll me a d20. No wild magic on this day. You just fuck them up. They have 2 HP. Mick.
Mick, right? What's Mick gonna do? Well, seeing that they've all basically died, I'm just gonna run up behind this one and smack it.
All right, do it. Smack it.
2 HP, so it's fine.
With my Qualtra staff.
And roll that damage. Can't fail, I don't think. And you just, and it just splats and breaks, shatters this little hand into nothingness, and you successfully defeated these things in 3 turns. Congratulations. They're all burnt. There's just a horrible smell of rotten, burned flesh that fills this room. There's some thick smoke in one corner piling off of these small mounds of ash which are just settling to the ground, and then there's one hand which twitches twice and then falls still in front of Malkai underneath Mick's quarterstaff as he lifts it back up. The end of your quarterstaff smells quite badly now, Mick. But yeah, fucking absolute play of the game. Game. Well done.
And now that I've positioned myself here, I look in the chest.
I am
Fucking Nido's back. Fucking Nido's
The
back.
only reason why he went and hit it so that he could be fucking closer.
Yup.
Honestly, I actually thought you were just going to go, well, seeing as there's only one left, I go and check the chest. So I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you for not going straight for the chest, but...
Thanks, mate.
All right, so inside the chest there is a devastatingly foul smell, and looking down through the burnt hole as the embers cool, you see a very small container which is actually a sort of inverted human skull, and it is full of gold pieces. As you start clawing and pulling each of the gold pieces out, you can't bring the skull out, it won't fit through the hole, but you can pick at all of the gold pieces. You find 45 gold pieces in total inside the skull. Each of these gold pieces stinks.
We have gold. See, I'm gonna share. Look, we have gold, everyone.
All right, so
Yeah,
Mick
gold
greedily
pieces.
sits in a corner and starts counting out and dividing 45 pieces of gold between 4 people. And yeah,
44, not 44.
why not 44? Don't ask me.
We can have 10 pieces each, and I get the 15 coin finder's fee. The 5 coin finder's fee.
I'm gonna like take a step back and be like, do you think you should take the skull? It doesn't look nice.
Look, the book's not been selling too well recently. I haven't written the next one. So I need the gold. Gold is gold. And at that point, I want to do a prestidigitation to make them all smell lovely.
Prestidigitation.
For an hour or how
Yeah,
long?
just an hour.
All right,
Not
so
just
the,
smell
Just
it.
smell like mint.
the coins for now have been minted.
Hey, you know me. I'm always in it for the fun, in it for the story.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'll allow it. So yeah, he hands out each of the pieces of gold, and you're sort of left in this room now, looking around. What do you guys want to do next?
I wanna look in the chest.
So,
And-
Nick is your
sorry.
name.
Nick is my name. Hello.
I noticed that you used a weapon as a wizard.
I did.
I do not see many spellcasters use melee weapons other than myself. Have you trained in the ways of a barbarian?
Nah, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know. Hit some stuff, don't hit some stuff, you know me, I hit the wall. Yeah, it's just
You
pick it
did
up.
seem very skilled with the weapon, you see.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks.
Just thought maybe you were similar in skill to Bondash.
I mean, hey, I gotta give you props. Those burning hands,
Ah,
They're all
yes, you
solid.
noticed the fire of
they
the
were hot.
earth.
They were
See,
hot.
My fire was not from me. I did not create the fire. I just used my surroundings. You can create real fire.
Yeah,
You can create an element.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Strong power.
I mean, you know me, I'm kind of like the top dog, really. So tell your friends that there's a hit book coming out.
I don't want to know about your books. I've told you before. Your dark magics to yourself, sir.
Hey, it's not dark magic. It's just a story.
You can
wanna be
call
in
it whatever you wish.
Do you want to be in my
But
book?
it is still a dark magic.
Do you want to be in my book, big guy?
I don't know if I do.
Put you in the book. You'll be a millionaire.
I will think on
about
that.
it. Think about it.
I will think about it.
And I go back to just scraping for these coins.
All right, yeah. And Malachi, you wanted to do something with the chest.
I wanna check out the skull in it, see if there's like an evil presence or anything.
All right, give me an Arcana check. I mean, it generally seems okay, the skull itself, like feeling over, trying to sort of work out if there is anything arcane and odd happening with the skull. Doesn't feel like it to you.
Okay. Can I smash it anyway? Like with the handle of my axe? Just
Yeah, give me an athletics check. You smack the chest and it actually cracks through the bottom of the chest, and you feel the wood splinter as you shatter this old skull into just multiple pieces, splintering it, and you feel the bottom of the chest crack because you hit so damned hard with the butt of your warhammer.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that is it. That's all that happens. Nothing
I
crazy.
feel better now.
All right. What do you guys do next?
Just get out of there.
Hey,
don't like it.
I want to have a little look around, see if there might be a secret passageway or something down here.
Hmm.
Because it doesn't seem like all there'd be is a chest full of hands. Box full of
Doesn't.
hands.
Give me a perception check as you start to wander around.
Perception.
Nice. So you start moving around, looking about you, tapping some walls with your quartz staff, tapping the ground, and once you get to the very center of the room here, you tap the ground, and then you suddenly realize, hang on a minute, tap left, tap right, tap the center. Yep, it's hollow. This part of the ground, this wooden plank, can be moved, and as you start to fiddle with it, move it about, you sort of locate another trapdoor right in the middle there of the basement floor.
Hey guys, the plot thickens as I open the door.
Cool, yeah, and he reveals underneath two planks in the middle of this floor another trapdoor. I'll just draw a little doodle, but it is basically here. I didn't go to the effort of finding a token for this one.
Oh no, it's 3 wavy lines. Oh.
3 wavy lines, attack, roll initiative.
Yeah, I revealed the trapdoor to everyone.
You going down?
I'm not going down first. Fuck that.
Neither am I.
One dash, go down the hole.
Aylin and Mick, as first timers here, have revealed themselves to be quite cautious. Won't go so far as to say cowardly yet, but all you've done is go, no, I avoid the crazy man with the dagger. I am not going to be the first through that door. I'm going to let everyone else walk through the door. I'm going to be the last one down into the basement, and I'm going to step away from that chest. I will not go through this second trapdoor. But I get it. You
I'm
are
not someone who fights things.
you are the squishiest ones, and so
I'm so used to your campaign, Brad, where normally you enter a door and you just get killed instantly.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
enter a door and be like, quick, make a dex saving throw, or you're dead.
Well, this is. I mean, there are all sorts of things like dex saves and wisdom saves and things like. Yeah, but it's not every single doorway like me.
No.
I would argue, though, that this is more dangerous than one of my campaigns because I'm not in control. So for anyone, I know that a few people are new, as in they've just come in from Elsewhere's channel. We're running like a module. It's called the Lurker beneath Red Larch. It's somebody called MT Black made it. And yeah, it's not a homebrew thing. I often homebrew things, but I don't have time to do that for the Saturday shows, and also I want to see some orthodox D&D, so we're running one of these modules. So it's a skeleton of a campaign, an adventure, and so I don't have a lot of control over like what comes out at them, and that also means that I kind of don't always know whether some like eight crawling hands can kill them or not. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, who, if anyone, heads down the trapdoor first?
You do. Okay.
Gondash? Rock,
I mean, I
paper,
would have
scissors.
just looked down it first with the like torch bit.
Okay, I'll let Malachi take charge of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so Malachi kind of leans over with a torch, and you can see that down further through this basement there's sort of a fairly large cavern, and actually as your torch you maybe send it lower than the threshold, I guess, of the trapdoor. You can see some of the cavern lightly glitters from small little stones in the ceiling and the walls, and to climb down there's not a traditional ladder. There's sort of iron spikes which have been driven into the cavern wall next to the entrance of the trapdoor, and you'd have to climb down these maybe about 30 feet, and sort of a makeshift ladder. I mean, there's no like horrible. There's not a dragon just with its mouth open at the bottom of the cave. There doesn't appear to be anything down there. You can't really hear anything scratching around or growling or anything. It seems like it just goes straight down to another sub-level.
And I create a bonfire down there.
Yeah. You create a bonfire down there.
Directly at the bottom, so I don't burn myself when I go down the ladder. Down there. Just want to make it clear.
All right. Well, you only have a certain amount of line of sight, so you can't really go too far afield from the bottom. But you can create a bonfire down there, and it lights up the cavern a little more in the surrounding area. From what you can see, Malkai and Gondash, again, there's nothing there. Nothing reacts to the bonfire. The cavern glitters again a little lightly around the area, but it just seems to be sort of a naturally made cavern.
Is there a way? Sorry.
I was just gonna let you speak.
I just wanted, like, is there a way to, like, I don't know the word. I have a rope bound to some place, so if like any of those makeshift ladder things breaks, that you don't fall to your death.
Yeah. Do you have a rope?
I have a rope.
You probably do.
Also have a rope. Everyone has a rope.
I think it
Everyone
depends.
has a
I don't have a rope.
You don't have a rope? No, yeah, you probably
I
don't.
had fucking 2 ropes on the last campaign.
Well, a cleric has the option of a scholar's pack, which is why I ask. But
I definitely. I wrote that somewhere else, but I have a rope.
okay, so you attach a rope to maybe one of the more secure wooden planks in the basement. Give me a survival check.
God, what?
And I watch over to see if she's tying the rope efficiently.
Yep, that gives you advantage, so you can tie it with an efficiency of 17, and then I presume you tie it around yourself.
Yeah.
All right, and start heading down the spikes. Yeah, you start moving down these little spikes. You climb spike by spike down. Ding, 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 ding. Everyone watching you in anticipation, and you make it to the bottom fairly safely. The spikes seem to hold. They don't feel like the most secure thing in the world, but they hold your weight.
Nice. Okay.
Is it
I would like to follow down. Sorry.
Yep. There's a
Is it
rope
safe?
in the way, and it's really annoying for everyone else. So I don't know if you want to untie that or send it back up.
I want to use the rope in the same way. As you.
I guess, yeah. If
I want to pull it back up and tie it around myself.
If it gets untied, pull it up.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be the second person to go down.
All right.
I don't need no rope.
Malkai, as far as you can tell in this cave, there's nothing in your immediate area. It's just a fairly open cavern. It sort of tunnels off one way, and you can't see further down than the edge of the tunnel. But yeah, again, nothing comes out at you. There's not like a horrific spectre that rises up and starts attacking you.
Yay.
Who's second?
This guy.
Mick. All right, so you tie the rope to yourself with a survival check of.
Ba, 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 ba.
Are you helping Gondash?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm good.
17. Yeah, you tie it around you fairly well. You know, a rope or two, and or a knot or two even, and you head down the little spiky spikes. Ting, 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 ting. It holds your weight as you head down, and you get to the bottom. You can untie the rope and.
Yeah, I'll untie the rope.
And yeah, you make it to the bottom. Fine. Who's next?
Oh, nice, Danny, nice.
I mean, I guess I'll go next because I don't want to be left by myself.
All right. Aylin ties the rope around her waist with a survival check. 18, very secure.
Oh,
And
not taking any chances.
Aylin starts ting, 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 ting. 3 or 4 steps into it, though, one of these spikes ping, just breaks under the slightly heavier weight of a half elf. And give me a dex save. you ting, and you just spin off one way, and you fall. And if not for the rope, you would have almost definitely fallen all the way to the bottom as you completely lose your grip and slip off of this spike as it falls and clang hits the ground, ping, ging, 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 down the cavern, and you swing round one way and just kind of twist and bang into one side of the cavern wall, and then you can grab onto another spike and steady yourself. You don't take any damage because the rope stops you from taking any fall damage, but you kind of have a shock and a for a moment, and then you can gather yourself. And
After that, I'm very quiet for a minute.
just sort of
I'm going to
hanging.
be very quiet. I'm going to listen to see if I can hear anything reacting to that.
Yeah, give me a perception check. Yeah, everything A-okay. You're just absolute, solid. There's nothing down here in this entire cavern as far as you're concerned.
Okay. Then I'll keep climbing down, I guess.
Tink, tink, tink,
A little
tink,
bit.
tink. Yeah, you make it down the rest of the way and get to sort of safe ground and maybe kiss the cavern floor and then untie the rope, and you can send it back up to Gondash.
Watch as I fuck it up. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
Tying a rope around yourself, fully aware now that the iron spikes themselves are not quite as strong and capable, and you're a lot heavier, presumably, than Aylan's lithe half-elf body. And you're just going to abseil all the way down instead of using the spikes. Give me an acrobatics check. Yeah, it's not pretty. He sort of like he sort of just walks down the side of the spikes, and it's like it's not the greatest, most it's not Cirque du Soleil in here. He's kind of like all over the place, but you actually manage to successfully sort of abseil your way down to the bottom, and then you can untie the rope. You can't take the rope with you.
How long did you say the ladder was? 30 feet?
It's about 30 feet, yeah. And yeah, you make it to the floor. And look around you. Look around you. Look around you. And in the cavern, you find yourselves. It should be. Hang on, I should be able to drag you over there. Yeah, you find yourselves in this big, open sort of cavern area. And before you continue, I think we'll go to a quick break so that everybody can take PP. Maybe Anna needs some more coffee. She is live from Australia right now. And what's the time?
7:47.
7:47, and we've been streaming
Not too bad.
for a couple of hours.
Sun's
So,
actually up now.
are you feeling more awake yet, or are you just?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting there. You're gonna wake up just as we finish streaming. That's the thing.
Yeah, or fall asleep just before we finish, because that's what happened last time when I was watching.
Well,
asleep for the last half hour.
hopefully it'll be interesting enough to keep you awake, and we'll resume with the party as they finally make it down into these caverns underneath the Nightwall cottage, and we'll see what they do, see what happens, see how they proceed with what lurks beneath Red Larch. Dun dun dun. It's all beginning to make sense. We'll see you in a few minutes. Go and get yourself a nice cup of methamphetamine to enjoy the last part.
Still too early.
Still too early?
Still too early.
Well, maybe try maybe a bit of acid, some sort of like an upper. Yeah, maybe drop a tab.
Alright, I'll see.
Drop a tab of
what I can
ecstasy. We condone Class A drugs here on the Brad Wodo channel. Thank you for tuning in, and Raiders for staying and stuff. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Bye. How? Hello. I'm sorry if the music bursted loud at the end there because I misclicked a button. But I say, if anything, blame Cookie. So let's blame Cookie instead. Yeah, all the music is made by Peachy Pixel 8, who's a streamer. He does a lot of the music for Fractured Worlds. I think the only song which isn't on the SoundCloud is the one that we use in the break there. But you can search on SoundCloud for World of the Peach or Fractured Worlds, and you'll find a lot of the music that I use. The one which is playing right now, quietly in the background, is called Dusk, and that's on there. So, what did we do?
Found a trap hole, didn't we? And all went down.
Okay, yeah, so you all made it down into this here cavern. That's here cavern. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I need to keep an eye on what's going on. And you, you like all make it down this thing and you get a chance to truly look around. It's sort of, again, it's very natural made caverns, primarily shaped from sort of limestone. The roof varies in height. It's typically around 20 foot as you sort of move further in. And whilst the floor is like super highly uneven, the ceiling is the same, but it also has like stalagmites or stalactites, whichever one is the one that hangs down. There are some that tights hang down, mites go up. So there's all sorts of spiky things sticking out of the ground as you walk around. The cavern is quite wet in many parts. There's like puddles of water in some places, damp moss clinging to the walls. There's like definite rats, bats, insects, other little vermin which sort of live on each other, and the moss and stuff on the walls, and they're just all running around and skittering about. There's some quiet noises from them as they move around. They head away from Malkai's lantern that she's just lit in the break. And bear in mind, Malkai, that you now have one hand being used by something.
Yeah, can I like ready an action to, if we get attacked, I just put it down, like stand it somewhere, stand it somewhere.
You can throw it.
God, will there be a fire?
There's always a fire. Where do you think you are?
Okay, I want to throw it once we get attacked so I can use my fucking shield.
What is it? Exclamation point, Liam?
Cave, nobody.
No.
Yes.
Yes, there is. But yeah, generally, yeah. If something kicks off, then we'll assume that you're going to very quickly put it down. But it's going to be, it'll be a thing. There'll be a thing.
Okay.
So yeah, like again, this part of the cavern that you're in actually has like tiny little naturally reflective stones. So the cavern actually is quite nice to look at. It's quite beautiful. It glitters a little bit, especially with the lantern that moves around, reflecting some of the light back at you. There are these iron spikes which lead up into the back into the basement of the cottage, but other than that, everything around this part of the cavern looks to be just natural and uninteresting. Nothing of particular worth, nothing stand out. Yeah, you guys can start moving through. However, maneuvering through this cavern is quite difficult, and essentially what I want you guys to do is sort of move your tokens no further than like 4 or 5 squares before like doing something or questioning me on something, or yeah, like looking around or whatever, because there's all sorts of shit going on in this cavern. So don't just like wander off and then whatever. You can do it, but you will be punished. But feel free to start moving ahead in like short little bursts as a group, or whatever. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Huh? What do you want to do?
I want to keep the ceiling in like sight, like look up at the ceiling periodically, if there's anything up there that could fall on me and crush me to death. And eat my brains.
All right. Yep.
I want to keep listening and see if I can hear anything.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll perception or something?
No, you've already rolled your perception.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was terrible.
I'm gonna just cling to the wall and slowly maneuver around.
Okay. Yeah. Again, this part of the cavern just seems to be fairly empty. Nothing is standing out to any of you.
Okay, I will follow you.
All right. Well, like there's looks like a tunnel.
A pathway.
The sort of cavern starts to move forwards. It narrows off and starts to move into a sort of natural tunnel way. It is about 20 foot, and yeah, it's dark in there, but you guys can essentially head towards it if you'd like.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Move.
Wizard friend, you are going very far ahead of the light.
Feel free to move towards the. Yeah, actually, Mick, you're probably reduced to this.
No. Oh god.
However, Malkai, you'll be able to see her light, so you should be able to see via Malkai now.
Oh, okay, that's a lot of light. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because you don't have anything. As far as the screen is concerned, chat, we can see everything that they can see. But Mick is a halfling, so he doesn't have dark vision, so he's relying entirely on light produced by other things. And at this point, it's just Malkai's lantern. Gondash and Aelin have dark vision, so they can generally see in the dark down here.
With a superior race.
Probably would be
Superior
a good idea.
race.
I'm gonna do that.
Superior races.
Yeah, you guys move towards this here tunnel, and you get close enough to be able to peer in. Looking in it's just a small narrow edge, and it starts to open up again. Part of the tunnel heading to the right, part of the tunnel heading to the left. It sort of splits. Feel free to continue moving forward. Essentially, if you see someone like Malkai move forward 4 spaces, 5 spaces, then everyone else move yours appropriately, and then just you can sort of leapfrog each other, but just cautiously. Don't just barrel through, is what I'm saying. Feel free to just wander around, and also feel free to describe what you're doing if you want to do anything specific as you move through.
I mean, I'm just cautiously kind of stepping my way through, trying to not hit anything too hard as to kind of break any stalagmites or whatever.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you like move forward far enough that what the hell is that? That you are able to see that this splits in 2 ways now. On one side, there's like to the northwest of where you are, the right-hand corner. There's it's just like a thick yellow soil down this end of this tunnel, and to the left, the cavern sort of seems to veer off and split once again. One side there's a huge, great like puddle. It's not like a lake or anything, but it's just a very, very large puddle where there's a natural dripping, like recess and opening, and then another part sort of slopes off and starts to head downwards on your left. What do you guys do?
Friend of Sally, wizard, you may want to stay back a little bit. You do not really seem equipped for. If anything attacks us, you will be hit.
Yeah, you're loud and clear, big guy. Loud and clear. I'm stepping back, man. My hands are up. I'm stepping back.
I'm just looking out for wizard friend. See, I have large shield. It helps.
You're a smart man.
Shall we continue?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start heading to the
I think
brown.
we should go to the soil. Yeah, the yellow soil.
Yeah.
Never go to the yellow soil, guys.
No, that was never licked the yellow soil.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was
That's,
getting confused. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're going to head over towards this soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, heading up to it, you'll notice that it's like quite churned up soil. There's a sort of sulfurous smell coming from it, and yeah, like it's a fairly natural looking thing. It's not like somebody has come down here and dumped a load of soil down here. It just looks like the ground is a little more unstable in this corner. Do you want to give me a perception check or an investigation check as you sort of get closer to it?
Ooh, yeah, I'll do an investigation.
Gonna do a perception.
I'm gonna do investigation.
Are you doing it from there?
I'm just trying to pick. I think if that's where the hands were above.
I mean, you're like 40, 35 foot away from it. So I mean, you can do it from there.
I can see that it's just like churned up dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what you can make out from here. So looking closer and from this distance, you try to take a little look.
What I can possibly deduce.
Mick and Aylin deduce that this is just pointless sulfurous earth. It's just a churned up piece of cavern floor that doesn't look particularly interesting. Doesn't look like it leads anywhere. It looks like it's a dead end down there. However, Malkai, you see that there is a sort of a hand reaching up out of the back end here of the sulfurous earth, but it is clutching a purse, thick-looking purse. Mick, what's the matter? Where's that Nido meta game now? Why hasn't he dove in?
Well, I can't see it.
That's not how metagaming works, Nido. Is it?
Got me off at actually metagaming properly last time, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Had all your
It seems
kicks
to
stolen
really
last
stole
time.
my gauntlet from me that was going to be my Iron Man gauntlet because I metagamed too hard.
Yeah.
It worked. You did it, Brad. You fixed him.
So I can't see that there's a purse there.
I'm gonna say like, guys, there might be another undead thing, hand, possibly dangerous, maybe. Let's check it out.
It's surrounded by the earth, so it must be a good omen. It has to be.
But it's like kind of, it's a weird. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look healthy.
I see. It doesn't smell healthy either.
Yeah. I'm gonna step up to it and like see if anything moves.
Wizard friend, did you not make things smell nice earlier?
I did. I can do it again if you want.
It does not smell too great in here. I would appreciate a nicer.
What do you want it to smell like?
I do not know smells well. I'm sorry. I know.
Lavender, prestidigitation.
And the cavern smells with a it fills with the smell of lavender. Congratulations.
Do
Do you think that's a good idea? Because now we can't smell if anything's wrong.
But there was definitely something wrong with the air before.
Well, yes, but if we go into a new place and it still smells of lavender, we won't be able to tell if it smells different.
We'll
Or
be
if we do something that changes it, we won't be able to tell if it smells different.
But it smells nice now. Does that not?
fine.
Gondash does not like the bad smells. They do not.
I guess if something's creating a new smell, we're gonna be able to smell it. I'm just covering up the stuff we already got, you know.
Well,
For
maybe.
now.
I just know that I do not like the bad smell.
Are there any like rocks or stones around? Because I want to take one and throw them at the hand.
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of rocks and stones. You're in a cavern. You can find one quite easily.
Why don't you throw a ration at it?
You can throw me, roll me a d20 plus your dex plus nothing. Just d20 plus a dex. I doubt you're proficient with a rock. Yeah, you throw a rock at the hand and it hits the pouch, but you actually see that the hand rolls out with it, and it's a hand attached to little more than half of a forearm. The forearm sort of rolls along the top of the sulfur, and the pouch just falls to one side. What I'll do is I'll chuck the pouch on here if you'd like. That's all that happens. The forearm is resting on the soil, so it's not like sinking into it or anything like that.
Still
Why
wanna.
is this pouch now?
That's all he wants
I just
from
want Mick to walk onto there and test it.
Oh, it's mighty promising. I'm gonna take a tentative step forward
Okay.
just to see if anything, is happening. No, nothing.
Nope. Do you wanna? Are you trying to like stealthily move? Because you can roll a stealth if you'd like.
Yeah. You know what? Let's try and stealthily leave no trace as we travel.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that purse.
Right. Pretty stealthy.
Na.
He steps forward. Doesn't make much of a sound. Can barely hear it. He's a halfling. Makes another crunch.
A light-footed halfling, if you will.
A lightfoot halfling. He's only light. Light in the foot. Another tentative step. And
wanna
he
put
steps onto the soil. What? Go on.
I want to put my thing down, the lantern down.
The
And
lantern.
just like,
Yep. All right. The and then we see this little wizard stepping on, eyes filled with dollar signs, wide-eyed, a greedy grin spreading across his face as he steps across this ground. Again, it churns. It feels a little bit like sand underfoot, but not sinking sand. It's not like your foot slips into it and suddenly you're being dragged under. You feel the ground press down underneath a foot, another foot. You step on one part, and the sand actually quickly moves, and something which was under the sand comes up and out, and it looks like an insect's claw, but much larger. There's a screech from underneath you, and the sand underneath where you're stood starts to move and tremble, and something starts to rise out under it. It's literally under where you are. Again, the sand next to where you are, a little bit further to your right, starts to move as well and shift as the soil moves, and parts of this soil actually were covering these two creatures that start to move up out of the ground. Give me a dex saving throw. And all right, everyone, roll me initiative. These things. Well, one of them is going to have a surprise round on Mr. Whatever his name is, Mick. I can't remember his name. Miorden? Mick Miorden. All right, I will learn your names soon enough. Takes me a week or two.
I knew it was something.
Yeah, these two monstrous creatures start to move up out of the ground, and one of them fires this sort of acid upwards at Mick, who desperately tries to jump out of the way. He does so, and oh, do you? No, you don't. Makes it, breaks it. So actually, the acid just smacks you in the face. You're feeling like that guy in Jurassic Park that sees the Dilophosaurus or whatever it's called, and suddenly appears and sprays this horrible green acid towards you. And let me see what that does here. This is going to sting. And Mick is caught in the face with an acid spray for 3d6. 17. That's going to fucking hurt. What are you, as a wizard?
I am down.
Are you full? Are you just down? What is your HP?
15. 15 is my
Oh,
HP.
okay, good. I was so scared there that you were. Oh,
I was just dead.
for a moment, I don't. It's because I've been making level 1 characters for the new show on Wednesday, and I was like, oh my god, they're dead. You're not level 1. You're level 3. Oh my god, you're a level 3 party. I was like 17. He's dead. So acid, just a column of acid bursts up from out of this sand. Everybody watching through the lantern light as it's set down to the ground sees the soil underneath move, and 2 ank eggs crawl up out of the ground. These are the things that once upon a time we faced and we called Rek'Sai. And this one climbs up on top of Mick's body, and I'm going to roll their initiative right now.
One of them be pool party Rek'Sai, please.
One of them is pool party Rek'Sai. We've got some Rek'Sai's back. Rek'Sai is back. Let me just roll their decks.
They were very fun.
Just a d20.
Doesn't sound like they were actually fun at all.
10 and 7.
Fun, really.
And then that is our combat order. So they move up out of the ground. We see Mick take a face full of acid. He clutches at his face with a scream and then just falls to the ground completely unconscious, his face boiling and burning. Gondash, you are the first to react. What would you like to do?
I tried to warn him.
Yep.
Stand here. And then let's see what this range is. I chill touch this one.
Which one?
This one.
Bottom
But I
one.
probably don't.
What is it? Hang on, I can't see. I'm on the wrong thing. It's an attack roll, is it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you sort of. I mean, what does it look like? It misses, but how does it look?
So I just kind of, because normally I'd like hit them with my hammer to do a chill touch, but at range it's different. So I get my shield out, and like a bolt of ice just kind of launches from it, and it like turns into the shape of a hand and tries to like punch it, I guess. It just kind of swings and misses.
All right, yeah, and
then just
flies
turns into like it evaporates as it misses and disappears.
All right, Mick, roll me a death saving throw. There is an actual option to do it on the sheet. You can just click on the words death save.
Does it record them? Death save.
No, you do have an option to. All right, so you have 1 success. You can actually tick that off on your sheet.
Yep.
And the Ankheg there sort of reels back, sees these 3 people moving into position, starting to reach for weapons. Maokai standing up and hefting a shield to her side as this thing opens up its own mandibles, and a jet of acid launches forwards in a 30-foot line. I guess it would be something like this. So that I think 5 feet wide is gonna hit everyone. So I need dex saves, please. You have to beat a 13 or take.
Ah,
All right. So Maokai, you take 5 acid damage. Aelin. No, Maokai, you take 10. Aelin and Gondash, you take 5. As basically just all this acid launches forward, spraying at each of you. Aelin and Gondash manage to sort of get out of the way of it. They're not directly in front of it, but Maokai takes basically a full body of it. Maokai, you look down at your chain shirt, if I think I'm correct in saying that's what it is, and you see some of the links start to rust and ting, ting, as the acid starts to burn through the chain shirt, and it takes some acidic damage, and we'll deal with that post-fight. For now, you get the full benefits of your full AC, but it looks like your chain shirt is beginning to suffer some damage. Aelin, here we go. Anna steps up. First ever combat that isn't crawling claws which get destroyed straight away. First real turn. What do you want to do?
I think I'm just gonna vicious mockery at it.
All right.
This bottom one.
The bottom one. Yep.
So.
Vicious Mockery flies forward. Let me make a dex save for this guy. Does it have anything
I'm
special?
going to somewhat anxiously shout at it that it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen, and I hope it dies a slow and painful death.
You do so. You send out this vicious mockery, and she's just shouting obscenities at it. The rest of you are just looking at her like, do something, and she just shouts abuse at it, and it doesn't even seem to react whatsoever. You can use a bonus action if you have any spells or any moves that allow you to do stuff on a bonus action.
I'm going to give Malkai a bardic inspiration.
Bardic inspiration, Asian. So you cheer Malkai on, and what does a bardic inspiration do?
It gives her. Wait a second. I could click on it. She gets a d6 to use once within the next 10 minutes to add to an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
There you go. So bear that in mind if you want to use your bardic inspiration. This thing rolls to try and recharge its acid spray and doesn't do so, and then just starts skittering forward, runs straight up to Malkai here, and you see these mandibles open up as it comes towards your tiny halfling body, and it tries to bite at one of your arms. It does a d20 plus 5. And it's a devastating miss. You've just hefted up this shield and you just boom, bang it in the face, and it you refuse it, Emil. Malkai.
I'm gonna do less on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever a target makes an attack roll or a saving throw within 1 minute, like the duration is 1 minute, target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the attack roll or saving throw.
Is that as many times as you want in the minute?
Yeah.
Alright, so everybody has been blessed. That is a concentration spell, if I recall, so
Yes, it is.
bear that in mind. Do you want to do anything on a bonus?
Can't disengage them. No, don't think I can do anything.
Alright, Gondash. These two horrible things are wrecking through everyone, firing acid at everyone.
I want to run over here to this one and smack it with my warhammer.
Smack it.
Actually, no. I want to rage first.
Yep.
I want to rage on and then smack it with my warhammer. As
He's going level
Classic
1 barbarian.
move of hit it and
Flame
rage. Flame on.
Flame on. Yeah. I still really want to play a Super Saiyan that it just like a Saiyan that when you use rage is when you go Super Saiyan.
Yeah. We want like a fucking barbarian cleric multiclass, so you can thaumaturgy as well as rage at the same time.
Yeah, if you go light cleric,
down,
you can do the
down.
Tien Shin Han blind thing too, whatever that's called. All right, roll me an attack.
There we go.
13 is not quite enough.
What
You
does rage actually do, by the way?
raging out, come running in and just and unfortunately miss this thing, just swinging just above its head as you wildly swing at the Agheg. And do you do a bonus action?
That was my rage.
Oh yeah, Mick. Death save.
Whoopah!
One success and one
my-
fail.
Can I use my 1d4 from the bless for a saving throw?
Read me what bless does.
I can I just do this?
I don't think it works in death saving throws.
I mean, a death saving throw is a saving throw, so
Yeah. It doesn't say anything special.
Yeah, the target can roll a d4 and add the number roll to the attack roll or saving throw.
but can you receive the effects of bless when you're already KO'd is my question.
It says just you blast up the 3 creatures of your choice within range.
I'll give it to you. Why not?
I guess it's not you doing anything. It's just
You've just got this divine blessing on you from a cleric, so
Hey,
Yeah.
another victory goes my way.
so yeah, it doesn't matter what you roll, you get another success. The Ankheg in front of everyone reels its head back, tries to recharge its acid spray and is unsuccessful. It launches forward at Maokai as well and attempts to bite. Why do I keep rolling my actual dice? I want to roll this one. Wow, a terrible fail, as it runs forward, it stumbles over a stalagmite and falls and actually kind of ends up, boom, face first prone in front of you, Maokai.
Nice.
I think these things, you don't get advantage on it, but its AC is reduced while it's prone, because they're like little cockroachy type things. But you have, it has a reduced AC for the time being. Aelin, the bard at the back.
Alright. I think I'm gonna try and dissonant whispers at one of them. But the one that's not prone.
Okay. Go for it.
I get a mark on the one that
It's
is
not
prone.
on my attacks for some reason.
Yeah, I can. The prone
is the
one
top
is the top one,
Wait,
but it's
that
this
just
one.
tells you what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Why is it not in my attacks?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It should just be a 3d6, so you can roll 3d6 with the dice roller. Do you know how to do this?
If I
Or just do.
plug it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forward slash one.
There we go. So, I guess you. I mean, how do you do this? Because you don't technically have to use the violin.
It says that you whisper a discordant melody, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming I sing it under my breath.
Yeah.
And magically sort of.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba, and this melody that nobody can hear. So again, I guess the rest of the group have no idea what's going on behind them. But you start whispering these terrible melodies towards the non-prone creature on the ground, and it has to make a wisdom saving throw or take the full damage, and then also fucking leg it. I think I used to do this one a lot.
Get as far away as possible. Doesn't move
Yep.
into obviously dangerous ground.
12. What is your save DC?
I'm pretty sure it's 13. Yep, it's 13.
Nice. So it takes the full 12 damage. So let's save this one here, which is and then
10, Brad, not 12. You rolled the 12.
oh, okay, 10 damage. I'm
Christ.
sorry. I'm very tired. I have a headache. This room is the worst room in my house, and it's so unbearably hot that it's doing that thing where I'm just getting beaten down by heat. Like, I woke up this morning like it, and it's just been worse and worse. I went into the front room and sat on my actual sofa in front of the TV instead of my computer today for the first time possibly ever since moving in here, and was watching like TV on the sofa because this room, I didn't want to be in it. Anyway, yeah, so this thing kind of like, you see it react, and it starts to like shake its head and like move around. Gondash and Maokai are probably like, what the fuck is this thing doing? But you know that you're kind of messing it up with this psychic sort of melodic damage, and it must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from you. So this thing powers it. It just turns tail and runs, which gives Gondash and Maokai an attack of opportunity if you would like to use your reaction to do so.
Yes.
Roll your attack
Very much so.
or attacks. That is a hit, Gondash, and that is a miss, Maokai. So Gondash, roll me some damage as you swing a warhammer. This thing starts running, and you're like, hell no, and you just boom, crash this thing down.
9 add 2, that's 11.
11 because you get the rage. All right, so you just crush one of this thing's legs, and it skitters away with a bludgeoned and broken leg behind it, dragging. And you deal 9. You say 12? No, 11.
11, yeah.
So that is okay. Nice, yeah, and it has to use all of its movement, which is 30 feet. And it actually, what it's going to do is run to this here sort of sandy stuff, soil, and it's going to start burrowing under.
In Rek'Sai, man.
Get
Well,
out of your tunnel.
It's trying to get away from Aelin. Let's see here. The creature which burrows its way down continues to burrow its way down, but what it's going to try and do while it is burrowing is recharge its acid spray, and doesn't do so. So you hear it burying further and further into the soil. Maokai.
Wait, was that the pool party one? So is there now just like a rubber ring? Just where
No,
it
I
was?
think Pool Party Rek'Sai is on the ground in front of Maokai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna swing at that one with the axe.
Okay.
That is a hit.
Nice.
Nice, yeah. So you bring a battle axe down on this thing's back, and it's got like a chitting plating, so it's kind of tough. It's kind of hard. It's a huge, great insectoid-looking creature, but you actually crack into it. You see a very small dribble of like insectoid-looking white, reddish blood run down its back. It's not a full cut into this thing's back, but you've made an opening to begin to hack away at, and it lets out a little kind of on the ground as it's pushed further down. Gondash.
I want to hit this little bastard.
Yes, that is a hit.
Send that for 9 damage.
So we see Battle Axe crack this thing's armor, and then we see a Warhammer do something very similar and break another portion of this thing's armored back. And yeah, it is pushed and crushed even further into the ground. Mick, give me a death save.
Has it been 1 minute yet?
No,
No.
that's 10 rounds.
Oh, cool. Doesn't matter.
3 saves, so you stabilize. So Mick is like unconscious over there on this sulfurous earth, and he is stable.
I'm not gonna die. I just got a burnt up face.
Well, he says he's not going to die, but there is a horrible creature burrowing around underneath him somewhere.
Well, I mean, right now I'm not gonna die. I just got a burnt up face.
True. The creature in front of Maokai and Gondash sort of stands up, and he's going to roll a d6. He is going to attempt to bite at Maokai once again. Presuming that is a miss, so she easily another shield to the face from this thing. Aelin, your turn.
Okay. Well, because the thing worked last time, the dissonant whispers, I'm gonna try and vicious mockery again.
Okay.
Because on the basis that like verbal attacks worked.
Yeah.
So
And then I need to make a dex save. Another make. So again, you sort of whisper towards this thing. You don't put as much oomph into this. It's not a full spell. You're just sort of trying to perturb it and give it a disadvantage. But the creature seems unmoved by you as it begins to stand up and start biting once again at these two. Let's see what the one underground does. You hear it begin to burrow back upwards. You maybe see the edge of 2 of its little insectoid hands return back up at the top there, but you still generally can't see it as it's still fully burrowed underground. Maokai.
Battle axe.
Battle axe. Hit.
Yes.
Who says me and
10. It's a brilliant one. You bring this thing down on that same spot that you'd already kind of broken open, and you feel this one bite into raw flesh underneath, cutting into it. It pushes this thing down once again. You see it stumble a little, and you then, as you pull your battle axe back out, a fresh batch of thick, white, pinkish blood starts to pour out of this wound now. Gondash.
I also wish to hit it with my melee weapon. Yes!
It is a critical strike.
shit.
Strike.
And I get savage attacks, Brad.
Yes, you do. So you can click the Warhammer and take all of the damage and then roll an extra d8 or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Wait, roll one of the weapons damage dice one additional time, which is d8, yeah. I can't type.
4. So in
That is
total,
funny.
18. Mate, it doesn't matter. You've killed it. How do you want to kill it?
What does it look like? Describe it in full detail.
It's Pool Party Rek'Sai.
It is Pool Party Rek'Sai?
Yeah.
Okay then. Is it wearing the armbands and everything?
Yeah.
So I just want to smash its head in so hard with my Warhammer that it kind of buries underground slightly,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the shockwave pops the armbands.
Pops the armbands and knocks the sort of trunks off of it, and it becomes just a normal Ankheg. As you just crush this thing's head, and it doesn't even let out a noise before it's splattered like the bug that it is. Mick is unconscious
Acidic
on
blood just kind of spurt everywhere.
ground. This Ankheg is dead. So, Aelin, it is your turn.
Oh.
As a
I
noob,
mean, I don't want.
I will allow
No.
you I will tell you some things you can do. You can ready an action.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to move closer to it. Is the thing.
Mhm.
I also don't really want to burn spell slots. So I'm just gonna ready another vicious mockery.
All right.
For if I see the other one come into range above the soil.
So as soon as he appears and you can let it off, then you'll unleash a vicious
Yeah.
mockery, which
Yeah.
realistically will happen right now as it comes out of the ground. Its horrible mandibles open up as you see another line of acid head towards you. Give me the vicious mockery first.
I'm gonna scream at it.
Ah!
Viciously, not scared, like viciously.
Yeah.
Not like a barbarian battle cry, but
Another make. These things are doing
man.
good. So yeah, you just and this
I now don't think that this works. So
this sound is heard from Aelin behind you, and you just think she's sort of battle crying at it, and it comes out and just goes. Give me dex saves, everyone, as another line of acid heads towards you all. What is it?
Misses.
One fail
wait,
from
can I
Aelin.
add bless to that?
You can
can
add
add-
bless to it.
The thing, yeah.
Plus,
Alright, that's a D4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Three
So
and a
it's
3. So Gondash, you
Make it. One F makes, right?
you make it. Maokai, you make it. Aelin, you take the full brunt of damage here. I presume Gondash kind of ducks out of the way of a lot of it, and then the rest of it kind of fires over the back of Gondash
Thanks,
there,
Gondash.
and just Aelin is just struck by a full line. Actually, does it reach you? It's 30 foot, so it doesn't actually reach you. So you're fine. Just realised. Yeah. So actually, like you go and it just goes and lands on the ground just in front of you. Just see it like peter out and like land as a speck or two maybe lands on the very edge of one of your boots, and you see it sizzle and
I
burn
mean, I'd
up.
probably jump back.
Yeah, you can jump back within your 5 feet, but Gondash and Maokai, you take half of 12, so you take 6 acid damage each. Yeah, that is the end of the Ankheg's turn. Maokai, your turn.
Oh no, what do I do? Yeah, I'm just. What? Okay, I'm gonna run up to it. Where am I? And hit it with my battle axe. Can't. And if it's less than.
Is
Okay.
there advantage
That's a
if
hit.
you're flanking right now?
There is no flank rule.
because
there's no flanking rule used.
it
Okay.
is complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's just too OP. And also, I don't think flanking works when you're prone anyway.
I was wondering.
But yeah, there is no flank rule. There's a rear advantage rule though.
Okay.
Maokai hits for 11. So yeah, Maokai, once again, you're like, mate, I know my battle axe and my strength can break through this thing. You bring it up and crack another one of this thing's plate, back armor, natural armor place. And Gondash, you can do something too while I work out this math.
Well,
It doesn't look good.
I just kind of calm down, and then I throw a fire. No, I don't. I chill touch it again.
Chill touch, that is a hit. 4 necrotic damage. How does this one look?
Pretty much the same, except it makes contact and just kind of punches it across the face.
Alright, and it does do so, and the thing kind of stumbles around its back legs, coming up out of the sand. One of them still kind of broken, hobbled behind it. It's got some thick ooze falling out of one of its sides, but it's sort of stumbling around. Aelin. Doesn't look too good, this thing.
I don't know. I'm just really, as me, very hesitant to use spells, but
Do you not have like a short bow or something like that?
no. I've got daggers, but Gondash is in the way. And it's-
No, you can throw daggers. I'm not playing the rule of Gondash being in the way unless you roll a 1.
Yeah, well, Gondash and Maokai are both in the way.
Normally that would basically give the way that you generally are supposed to do that is that it would give it cover and it would have an improved AC depending on the people in front of it. But I'm not playing that rule, so unless you roll a 1.
Alright, okay.
I'll play the rule as we go on, but I think it's fair to just take it off of everything and add on to everything as we go. So
Yeah, it's within range as well. Alright, I'll throw a dagger at it then.
all right. Dagger launches through the air. And it strikes the pouch at the back, ping, spilling out a few gold pieces.
No.
Mick lets out a gasp from his unconscious state, and the dagger lands next to the coins. Curses. Anything on a bonus?
No.
All right. The Ankheg bites out. Flails desperately towards Maokai, the little halfling. What is your AC? Still
18.
18. Yeah, so it bites out at you, and you manage to once again get your shield up. This thing crunching onto the front of it and sliding down it. Maokai.
Again, just Bellax in
Again.
Just,
You hear
oh shit.
you hear from the sky a booming voice go, "Finish him!" And how do you kill it?
Just cleave his head in half.
And yeah, you do so. The mandibles open up as if to spray further acid at you, but you straight down the center mess this guy up, and you cut his head open. And you give it a moment just to see if anything else comes out of the soil, but it seems to have been finished. Mick, roll me a 1d4.
1d4.
You will be asleep. You'll be unconscious for an hour unless somebody does something drastic to wake you up. And the rest of the group, you have successfully killed these creatures. What do you do next?
Put my winter blanket over the sleeping Mick.
Oh,
All right.
Guys.
This pouch better be worth it. And I pick up the pouch and the coins on the floor.
Okay. You pick up the pouch and the coins on the floor. Maybe toss the dagger hilt forward towards Aelin, who dexterously catches it and slips it back into onto her belt. Counting out the coins, you find 100 gold pieces in this pouch.
Wow.
I'm not good at numbers. How does this... There is 100 gold pieces in here. It says so on this tiny piece of paper inside of it. But someone else... How much would we all get? Including...
Well,
That is 25.
if you share it equally.
I
Yes.
see no reason not to. People worked as hard. Maybe not so much the person insulting the creatures and doing nothing else. But I still think that you are useful to this team slightly. You may count the 25 pieces. I'm not good with numbers.
Alright, I'll count 25 pieces very obviously in front of you so you can see that I'm not trying to steal any extra.
Give me an intelligence check, Gondash.
Yes!
You actually learn. You actually learn how to count to 25. That's how good of a job Aelin does.
Of course it does.
And here you go, Malkai. Owner of
Thanks.
Ghost. I will count it for you. Oh God.
While they count things out
Yeah.
loud, I want to do a quick prayer of healing.
A quick prayer of healing, which I think takes 10 minutes. So,
10 minutes, yeah.
yeah, you sit in a corner and start mumbling away an incantation to start to heal the others. Mick sits or lays underneath a blanket. Again, you're on this like sulfurous earth, so it kind of smells like eggs and fart. But you're all sitting around counting coins.
Is prestidigitation?
Oh yeah, no, it's still.
Is it concentration?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, it's just an hour's duration. So
All right, so
that's what happened.
Yeah.
yeah, so you're all right. After about 10 minutes, everybody gets 13 HP, and in fact, Mick sort of eyes flutter open for a moment, looking down on you, Gondash, Malkai, and Aelin, and you remember where you are. This cavern which stretches out into the darkness. You also find 25 gold pieces added to your purse, and the cavern looms largely around you. You have barely entered the actual cavern, and you've got a few more rooms to check. But this is where we will end our session today. And
it was so worse. 25 gold.
everybody's sitting around, kind of bandaging wounds or watching their wounds heal divinely. The acid on Malkai's chain shirt starts to ping, 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 and you'll lose 2 AC
Oh my god.
from that thing as it burns away over the course of the next sort of hour or so. Let me just check on chain shirt. As yeah, there's pretty much nothing you can do, I don't think, with your current loadout. Yeah, so that is reduced to honestly little more than the leather armor that some of the others are wearing. And yeah, like a lot of it like burns away and chink, pink, pink, and rusts almost. It's like acidic rust as it just burns through this powerful acid. And yeah, you'll probably need to start pocketing some of that coin, some of that lots of coin that you've been making up. So for now, you can just put somewhere on your character sheet that the chain shirt is damaged and that your AC is reduced by 2. So if it was 18, I think it's 16 now, if that's right. For next week, everybody make sure that their HPs are up. You'll get XP at the end. So at the end, probably almost definitely at the end of next week's session. So yeah, we see all of these adventurers sort of stumbling back from this thing. They're a little bit richer for fighting these creatures. Mick, roll me a d20. If you roll a 1, you will be permanently disfigured. Oh, it's not
Then again,
great.
If I rolled a 1, I would have just done my halfling lucky and re-rolled it.
No, this was outside of your halfling luck because it wasn't.
Damn it!
That only works on 3 specific things, like a saving throw, a thing, and a thing. This is just a random.
Saving ability and attack.
Yeah. So, yeah, the divine power of Maokai's god has actually healed your face back to normal, but your eyebrows are gone.
No! I was going to express myself.
So he probably looks even more suspicious than he was before.
Just gonna crudely draw them on with like coal or something. Oh, no.
Yeah, so we'll continue and we'll do part 2 and end this adventure next week. So this starts at 8 p.m. UK. Any noobs out there that have showed up, just hit the follow button and show up around this time next week. Actually, if you show up this time next week, you'll catch the end. Or show up like 3 or 4 hours beforehand and you'll see the beginning of the end of this adventure. Again, I sort of run one-shots every Saturday, so it's just individual adventures. They usually last 1 or 2 weeks, and this is the second one of these that I've done. The first one we did was different group, even though 2 of you were in it. I don't know. So there's just a pool of people from which I draw every week, and we all just chuck a game out to the world. Yeah, we'll finish this next week. So feel free to join us then if you want to hang out again. Thank you to I had a donation, so I'm going to get to that. I think. Let me see. I think if I go onto here, 1 second. Wolfman. Wolfman donated £5 for Wild Hand Magic, which technically doesn't work, but we're going to roll it next week. So Noodle, make a note somewhere that pretty much as soon as we begin, you're just going to roll a Wild Magic. Although this doesn't work, don't donate £5 for Wild Magic, because it won't always work. I'll just take the £5 and buy myself dinner with it instead. I do appreciate it, Wolfman. Thank you very much. And we'll do a Wild Magic next week. As in the Wild Magic will go off, Noodle.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you wrote it there. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for joining us. Nobody here really needs to shout out anything. Maybe Nido. You've been streaming.
I've been streaming a lot.
You've been streaming?
Yeah. So I got a 3DS capture card. So I've been streaming.
Damn.
Lots of Pokemon and lots of other DS games. So if you're interested in that.
All right. So you can head over to Nido Dude. And see some more of Nido. I feel like we got an underwhelming amount of Mick tonight, and I apologise for my part in that.
Honest, it was all me. I could have done a lot more.
Well, you went in and died in the second combat.
I kind of got. I still got to feel Mick out a bit, you know.
You guys kind of had the option to wander around town a little more as well, and you sort of like didn't. So I guess. Yeah.
I got to feel out what the character's like, and you know what? I've got a pretty solid idea of him as a character now.
Yeah, and it was fun. Anna, how was your first session ever, basically, of D&D?
I mean, I've been asleep for most.
Apart from the fact that you're ridiculously tired, and I do feel awful about it, but.
No, don't you feel awful? I mean, like, I wanted to play for ages, and I'm not disappointed. It's cool. I'm kind of terrified of doing anything, especially combat, because I was kind of afraid she might die, but she didn't, so that's good.
Yeah.
The first combat was easy because everything was dead.
Yeah, you just killed everything before I got a chance to do anything else.
Your attacks, it was fine.
I mean,
I was
you
assuming they couldn't hear anything because they're hands, and most of my stuff is based on being able to hear stuff.
No, you did great. I wouldn't say that it felt like you were like a complete scrub, a complete noob. I know you've watched a lot of stuff, so you picked up on it, but I wouldn't even notice.
I think I've probably watched everything that you've streamed, every D&D that you've streamed. So
you're a creep. You're a goddamn creep. You're a creep.
Bit, yeah. Not usually live though.
Yeah. Well, Anna will be back next week. She'll have to struggle out of bed again, and hopefully I'll do my best to make it like worth it. Otherwise I'll feel awful.
It'll be
Hopefully
worth it. It's fine.
hopefully you're awake enough to keep Aelin alive. If not, then
Oh god.
then you won't have to get up anymore, I guess, because you'll be there. Yeah, it was wonderful to have you here. I think you did great. I think every part of it, you worked your way around the sheet. You RP'd well and stuff, and I wouldn't even ask as much of you as you did. So it was good.
Well, thanks for having me, because it's pretty cool from my point of view.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I would have asked you to be on it a long time ago, but I always thought she lives in Australia and will never show up because that's awful.
Well, I was asleep, but last year was the first time I've actually got up at 5 to watch things.
Yeah, so it makes sense that you might as well just be in it and enjoy it from a first-person perspective. Cookie, you can catch in the chat. She is my wonderful little moderator. Cookie and Zod, the power couple, the dream team, the band Hammer mods in chat. And yeah, thanks for playing, thanks for watching. I know she's almost definitely asleep, but thanks to Elspeth for the crazy raid, and any random noobs that have followed and want to hang out. I'm going to be running a brand new thing, actually probably this Wednesday. It's an audio based, almost podcast style D&D game. We've got some other streamers in that. Mostly they're like Twitch Arc RP streamers. Kiwion, Awkward Kitty Inc., Pony Punch or Punch Pony, and Tiger Writer will be showing up for that on Wednesday about 10 p.m. UK, so it's pretty late for UK, as anybody who's American or something might be able to catch that one. And then Fractured Worlds on a Thursday with John Sandman, which I'm sure if you're an Elspeth fan, you've probably seen or been involved in some way. Other than that, we'll see you next week for the conclusion of this this one shot, this adventure, the Lurker beneath Red Larch. And you are currently beneath Red Larch. Let's find out who or what the Lurker is. Maybe it's you four. Ooh.
The one question I have is, why is it called Red Larch if there aren't any Red Larch trees?
I don't know what a
Did
Red
you
Larch
think
is.
it
I didn't
were?
know it was even a thing until you
not a
just said
tree.
it. There you go. And that, so you learn things. You learn things on this channel.
I like to count.
I like to count. All right. Well, I'll see everybody who wants to show up on Wednesday night for episode 1 of a thing called the Wolves of Water, a homebrew campaign, but it's going to be a little bit different in terms of anything happening on screen. And we'll see you all next Saturday. Have a wonderful evening. I think we're going to raid Koibu because we've got enough people and it's worth fucking hosting someone. So everybody jump into Koibu's thing. He's doing Age of Strife. Age of Strife was the first ever campaign I really got into on Twitch for D&D. It had a bunch of other streamers in it. It's like a reboot or a revamp or a revisit to the world of Age of Strife, but we're going to head over there. So everybody say hello to Koibu from Brad and Brad Werter and from yourselves and stuff, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for playing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. You can say bye, guys. Don't worry.
Ah!
There we go. Bye, everyone. Bye.